meant to. I forgot about it.
Suck.
Yeah.
I had to go to the doctor and get my thing because I'm rushed for going to,
Oh,
going to
wow.
Atlanta.
Wendy's on there and Mom's on there. Shit, there's a whole bunch of people on there.
And we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, yeah. We're
We're on
I know.
now?
I was like,
we're on now?
We're on
dang,
now.
everybody's there.
Holy crap.
Hi, y'all.
on right now.
Where's Bios to Books?
And who made it?
What happened to the introduction?
Who was first?
Oh, we're supposed to do an introduction?
Go. Oh,
This is so
Hi.
unprofessional.
welcome. You think we should know what we're doing by now?
Go ahead. You were about to.
Oh, sorry. Welcome to Coffee Table Chronicles Season 2, Episode 1. Welcoming as our guest. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I was so good for a while.
You were so close.
So close. Welcoming our guest, Bios to Books. Shit, author Dan Davidson.
The biggest existential threat to this country is the far left. The progressives or recessives. They like flaunting the rule of law, open borders over our home, reckless spending fiscal policy, leaving billions of dollars of military equipment to our enemies, sending billions more to other countries, lack of goods, oil and baby, electric cars for everyone, high inflation. That is the threat to America.
That was pretty good.
That's better.
Well, it'd be nice if the actual intro would start.
Warning, this is an opinionated program. These are personal opinions, but we are open to anyone with an opposing view. Grab whatever you are drinking and let's have a conversation.
Oh, man.
Are you sure you guys rehearsed for this?
No, we did what?
No.
Rehearse.
We are
rehearse.
totally improv.
Yeah,
Whatever.
because clearly, for those of us that, so should we even review what happened a handful of weeks ago?
Sure.
So we all went out and we're discussing about what we're going to do for season 2 and how we're going to do it, and I had this vision that I wanted to be able to have.
Do we talk about pitties in the studio? Because
Yeah, that's fine. We've always had pitties in the studio.
We still have pitties in the studio.
So then, I had this vision that I wanted to be able to have 3 equal screens, so that way we could see the newsletter, the Chronicle, with also being able to see all of us in a bigger size.
Right.
And so we thought about this at the bar. So we came back here and we went live on Facebook.
Christine was there. We told Christine to come with us.
Oh God, and Christine.
Oh my God, that was the best.
What was it? It was
I forgot about that.
It was like 45
midnight.
minutes on.
Yeah,
oh my
and
God,
it's midnight
it
easily
wasn't
at
that
her.
late.
Like-
No, it really wasn't that late.
No, for
But-
her.
for her.
Oh, for her.
Because it was
was.
easily 9 o'clock here.
So yeah, that was and then on top of it, so I texted Keith this morning and I said, "All right, so do you remember how to do this?" No. All right, let me come over early because we got to recreate this now.
It's fine.
Oh,
Well, Christine got the
best.
best behind the scenes show.
Yeah.
So it was.
The sad thing is it's on what, Facebook?
Oh, it's on
still?
Facebook.
It's on
yeah.
Facebook.
It's
Y'all-
only on Facebook.
Y'all can go see it because we went to live on Facebook just to see what could happen, and it's there.
Oh, so
It's
Christine,
there.
you're over on the East Coast.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I was like, it was late for her.
Yeah, it was definitely late for her.
My Sam's on.
Hey, Sam.
So we got
Hey,
Dan
hey.
here. Unfortunately, everybody can see that Wendy is on. I can see her on YouTube, but Wendy is homesick. So,
Yeah, get better, Wendy.
Get better, Wendy. Yes.
yeah, so she's been hawking, coughing and hacking and not feeling well for the better part of almost 2 weeks. So she just decided that she needed to come, or she
take a
needed to
minute.
stay, and I would come. And I said, "All right, can we get our guest in here?"
Yeah, of course.
A special guest,
Of course.
right?
Are you saying
nothing
that?
like last
Are you
minute.
saying that next time we should get Will and Erica over here?
Oh,
They did
Oh, I didn't even send it to them.
All things.
Oh
all
my
things,
God, I got to send it
all
to her
things
right now.
being considered, I mean, Will and Erica did a great,
They did a great
job
job.
while we were out of town, and
They
really
did.
appreciate everything they did.
Did an
They-
excellent
they-
job. Yep.
Yeah, I was busting on them a little bit about the microphone and stuff, but I do think that they did a great job.
Yeah, they did. It was fun. It was exciting.
The microphone you have to get used to. I still struggle with it myself. You have to remember where it is and remember to speak into it. So You got to give him.
Well, I give Erica a hard time only because of the fact that I was listening to it like I said in the previous episode, I was listening to it as I was driving, and it was just funny because I couldn't, so I'm not watching the video, I'm just listening to it, and it's just cracking me up, at least in my head, as I'm doing the midnight drive from Tennessee or wherever Missouri, the midnight drive from Missouri coming back, and it was just making me laugh so much. So it was
Well, at least you didn't fall asleep.
No, that's for sure. It definitely kept me up.
That's funny. I'd let her know you were talking about her.
Oh boy.
But I am not talking crap about her.
No, just saying
No,
that you
yeah,
were
you
talking.
actually compliment her, so that's a good thing. All right, so season 2, episode 1, titled "I Know What You Did Last Summer." So I'm going to talk a little bit about our break,
Why
some of our experiences. What?
Technical
having
difficulties.
problems?
I am. It's not letting me go back live.
All right,
'cause-
we'll let Lindsay do her thing. Let's go to memes of the week, shall we?
Memes of the week.
All right, memes of the week. Here's our first one.
I didn't get to have any.
I don't know who this man is, but I do know that his wife was out of town for the weekend.
100%.
I saw this earlier in the week, and I'm like, oh, I'm saving that one.
That's pretty funny.
You want to know what's funny? Me and my dad have plenty of those pictures. And guess who was taking the picture?
Your mom.
Ma.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I like
we
this. I like this one, John.
we had a
This
little
one's good.
dirt bike. That's funny. We had a little dirt bike, and we had one of my, because I was 4 when I got my first dirt bike. So one of my neighbor girls came over, and she was, I think we're both 6. She hits the gas and goes right into the fucking fence. Busts her face out.
Oh,
So bad.
man.
My mom's like, yeah, her mom's not going to let her come over anymore. It was so
We were watching an episode of Ridiculousness the other night, and some dude, probably in his mid-20s or something like that, had a third-generation Corvette sitting out front, and he's teaching this girl, it looks like his girlfriend. We're assuming it's his girlfriend. He's teaching her how to ride a dirt bike, and literally she guns it, and boom. Right into the Corvette. And he's just got this look on his face like,
Horror.
oh, my God.
Yep.
It's like, hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Exactly. For those of you keeping tally, Lindsay just dropped her first F-bomb, so
Yeah, I was going to mention
We should
that,
have an
but
over-under for the end of the
in
season.
the end of the season.
Oh, yeah, it's like football. There you go. Somebody's got to keep tally.
All right, so, start dropping
I like this one.
Yeah.
Start dropping the over and under in the comments to how many times we'll go back and review at the end of the season.
Right? You'll have to track that every week.
If it's your degree and I'm paying for it, doesn't that make it
Our
our
degree?
degree,
Yes.
Mr. Hand?
Mr. Hand.
Hold on.
I like this one too. This is funny.
That one, yeah. See,
Oh, my gosh.
Just
Did you hear about the rolling blackouts in Arizona?
No.
no.
Over by Nevada, by the border, by Laughlin. What's that city on the other side?
Bull City? Bullhead City?
Bullhead City
Yeah.
had all rolling blackouts. They had the elderly sitting in the river.
Get
Lost
out.
all the stuff.
Really?
Why would the elderly sitting in the
Because it was too
It's
hot.
too hot.
That's the only way to cool them off. So they had them sitting in their wheelchairs out in the water because it was so hot. Because it's hotter there than it is here. So
Yeah, and that's
crazy.
that's dangerous
Yeah.
in itself because if anybody's been to Bullhead City, the river's running pretty fast.
Yeah, it's going pretty quick.
That part of the
Oh, hopefully
part
they
of the
roped
bend.
them all off.
right.
Yeah, just tied them all together. Tied them down with buoys.
Hopefully
I
they
don't know.
weren't powered motorized wheelchairs.
Yeah, I don't know.
That wouldn't do well.
Well, you're not going to recharge them anyway, so you know.
We have a couple here from Bios to Books.
Oh, yeah.
Couple of memes. Actually, I like this one. Don't need to control my anger around me. Just need to control their habit of pissing me
Yep.
off. I like that. That's good.
That's a good one.
This is how you feel when you're on Twitter, right?
Yep. FBI releases terrifying image of domestic terrorist at work.
So did you hear?
Wow.
So for those, it's been a long off season.
It has.
It's been, what, 2 months, right?
Yeah. So did you hear that the Gladstone flag, which is basically or not the Gladstone flag, but the Betsy Ross
Betsy
flag,
Ross, yeah.
The circle.
is they consider that now a symbol of terrorism.
Yes, it's an
domestic
Yeah,
terrorists.
it's an offensive symbol now. Yep.
And,
Yes!
and they're
We
saying,
need to get one.
and
How do
it's
we get
funny
one?
Because Ted Cruz sits there and questions the FBI and says, if this is a symbol of domestic terrorism, then can you explain? And he pulls up Joe Biden's inauguration and goes, can you explain this one that's here in the background and this one here that's in the background? And then he pulls up something else And he goes, can you explain this one that's hanging here in,
wherever
the rotunda of Congress, and can you explain this one that's in the White House, and the FBI director, of course, he's an idiot.
Who's that, Christopher Wright?
Yeah.
Oh, he's totally useless anyway.
We have one in our family.
He never answers a question. Never.
One of those flags
Yes, we do.
Okay.
with the 13 stars.
Yep.
I was a little hesitant to answer that one.
No, we do.
I wasn't sure where we were going with this.
I like this one because it's so true. Right?
We're all just prisoners here of our own device.
Yep. The Eagles had it right.
Yep.
Found this one very funny. Look, Dad, I made Ukraine.
So proud of you, son.
Sorry.
Okay, that's funny. That's
Where
funny.
did that one come from?
I
That's
know. I
hilarious.
saw it on Facebook. I thought it was funny.
That's so funny.
And this is true. This is a photo from California.
From California. Isn't that
So,
lovely?
yep.
But turn your power off.
So they want you to turn your thermostats up to 78 after 4 p.m.
Right. But then the thing is, it makes no sense because then if everybody's going to plug in their car at 9:01,
It
Don't
should-
you think
You're going to
it's-
overload the grid.
don't you think it's still going to cause a problem?
Yeah.
yeah, 901.
Well, because it takes all freaking night to charge your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now your AC is now cranked back down, so your AC is running even
Hey,
harder.
the world is full of smart people. We're
Oh
going to
my
tell you.
God. See, again, we just need the Tesla version.
Speaking of smart people, this was out on Facebook today, and I just shake my head when I read stuff like this.
Oh, I saw this. I actually saw this.
I really believe this is why God gave us 2 arms, one for the flu shot and one for the COVID shot.
Yep.
Yep. He said
Well, at
that.
least
This
they're
is the
not-
White House COVID coordinator.
At least they're not bribing you anymore.
Well,
Get your COVID vaccine and win $1 million.
It's early yet this season.
True.
But have you heard of anybody who won that $1 million? What, CVS did it? Walmart did it? I know Walgreens did it. Who won? Because if I won $1 million from my COVID shot,
Well,
you'd
that
know
was-
about
That
it.
was before inflation.
Oh, so sorry. So it was only really $100.
Yeah.
And we finally found a complaint form that we can hand out to liberals. You're
Okay.
going to like this.
Oh, this is nice. You hurt my feelings report. Date of hurtfulness and time. What caused the butt hurt? Someone posted it or some offensive picture was on the internet. Was a tissue needed for the tears? Yes or no? Will you be able to move past it? Yes, no, and not sure. Reasons for filing the report. Check all that apply. I'm an idiot. I'm a crybaby. I'm thin-skinned. I'm a little bitch. I want my mommy. I felt picked on. I'm better than everyone else. I'm a prude. It wasn't my joke. No one liked my selfies today. Life just isn't fair. Or other, please explain. I do like the bottom. Official use only for action taken. Given a sippy cup, bitch slapped, told to grow a pair, or unbunched panties.
That's great. I had to put that up there. I thought that was funny.
But if you unbunched panties, did you unbunch them yourself or did somebody do it for you?
Somebody had to do it.
Somebody had to do it for you.
Yeah, because that was the action for the official use only. 'Cause
Hey,
otherwise-
Chris is on. Hey, what's up, Chris?
And Kendra.
And Kendra.
That is. We're not drinking it today, though. We're going to wait till Wendy's back. But it is the delicious blackcurrant.
So speaking of which, we had
Speaking of
we had the
which-
pleasure of going to New York a
Okay.
couple weeks back.
Okay.
It was
And
so
we
much
got
fun.
to investigate the Shanley Hotel.
You said back end? That's
Now,
the,
is that,
that's
is
the
that
hooker's
the,
end.
Is that the Amityville horror?
It looks like it,
It
doesn't
looks like
it?
you're right.
It sure looks like
No,
it.
that's the Shanley
it's not.
Hotel. But that back end, that's the hooker's quarters.
That's the hooker's quarters.
Is
Where
it
the hooker-
really?
That's where the hookers go. It's the playing thing on the bottom, and the top is the hookers' quarters. That's where the hookers go.
Nice.
So there was a lot of fun.
That's
We had
so
we had a
much
good time up there. We'll show you some more
I
pictures
ate
later on.
everything. It was delicious.
We did. We ate everything.
So I understand you liked New York.
How?
You enjoyed yourself.
I
in
did
there.
enjoy myself, yes.
So you did some
Eating.
like crab catching and stuff.
We watched it.
We watched Catch the Crabs. I couldn't convince anybody to let me catch the crabs. But when we were playing in the ocean, you would dig a hole.
I don't know why you are laughing at that.
You would dig a hole, and then when the wave would go in, there's all these little crabs, and they were so cute
because you would not have bet money this morning. You would have heard your daughter-in-law say that, right?
No.
that I caught crabs. in New York.
That's it. Just keep looking ahead.
Must
just,
we
just
read
keep
it?
Just keep staring ahead. Just
They're just
stare
little
right
babies.
ahead.
They're
Look
little
at the
baby
camera.
heads.
Just look at the camera.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I gotta get tissue.
You can't abandon us this early into the episode.
And on that note, let's do news of the week.
News of the week. Oh my God.
You gotta
sure
love
Are
it.
you sure you got this organized tonight?
No.
we-
When
do
have
we-
we have never had this organized.
Do we ever have it organized?
We have never said we had this organized.
I think you had it more organized. Whatever.
Did you read the intro?
Yes, I
No.
know.
Okay.
We do not organize this.
We glossed right over.
No.
Whatever.
So this is the new format. This is what we wasted 45 minutes of Christine's time on Facebook with, is to be able to come up with the new format here.
The black box.
Well, yes, it is a black box, but
It's
I'm
a
waiting
black
for
box.
I'm waiting for Lindsay to get back.
Didn't you guys miss us?
Oh my God!
Wendy, why am I here with these boys?
Somebody's
all by
filling
myself?
out a complaint form right now.
Everybody
I'm
give,
gonna come. You hurt my feelings.
You asked that question because nobody can answer you.
give us a thumbs up if you missed us.
Oh, boy.
Here is the new Coffee Table Chronicles Chronicle News. So
Sorry,
Story.
I gotta put Chris's comment up.
with Chris's comment.
In the hookers' quarters.
That's when you got crabs.
No shit. I actually didn't. I got crabs before that.
That's funny.
After that. Went to the beach after that, right?
Yeah, I went to the beach.
Yeah, went to the
after
beach
that.
after. I got hookers after that.
Heavy metal
Okay.
says
Yeah, it
you look
looks good on TV.
See,
There you go. Especially when he's trying
Yeah.
not to look at Lindsay when she says inappropriate things.
Well, it's fine.
All right, everybody missed us. All right, sorry, John.
All right.
How
We
far?
digress.
How long, Dad?
No, so the new format is we do not cover all topics of the week. I picked the top, technically 5, but this one actually.
Thought you were gonna say you picked the most fucked up ones.
No, I picked the top 5 news stories to just discuss.
That's 2 for those that are
Yes, sir.
counting.
Yeah,
Wendy
so-
says they're doing shots. So Wendy, second shot in. Go for it.
So I just picked the top 5-ish stories of the week, and we just leave room for discussion.
All right.
And this one, because of the Queen dying, there's an actual extra one in there. But so as obviously the big one was, the president with his whole, MAGA Republicans are embracing anger, thrive on chaos, do not live in the light of truth, are semi-fascists or racists, are extremists, and are insurrectionists. He went on to say that
Wow, I didn't know that about myself.
we don't believe in the rule of law. We don't believe in the Constitution. By the way, here's my Constitution right here, and I dare any of the little crybabies on the left to even cite
Anything from the
anything from the Constitution.
We the people.
Yeah, that's all they would be able to say. They wouldn't even be able to say what any of the current any of the laws that are
Right,
in
Wendy, with that red behind him, he looks like.
I mean, what was the point of that? Can we talk about that for a minute?
Absolutely.
What was the point of that setting? I mean,
For votes.
No, that had nothing to do with votes.
That
Well,
has
it
to
was-
do with making
was-
looking like what
it
he's
was
saying
ominous.
scarier.
It was
Ominous.
it was ominous. That's exactly what it was.
It makes you look like whatever he's going to tell you is scary.
Yeah.
So you're already pre-assuming that whatever he's going to say is scary.
I mean, let's back it up. Let's back it up and say, what was the whole point
it's
of it?
advertising.
What was the whole point?
to show
So did-
power by him. That's why. He
what,
has
what
the
did he, what did
Marines.
he sit there and so
He
most of the
showed that
time-
Republicans are
He
bad
attacked.
and votes are coming up.
right, because most presidents get out there and when they do a national address, they're either going to update you on what the current status of the country is, they're going to update you on
Something new that we're
either
doing.
something with the military or something with finance or something like that, or he's going to introduce a new plan that we want to make sure that the public hears it directly from the president as to what's going on.
This is what
right?
we're doing.
And he's talking to all of America.
All
not-
of America
not
and the
just
world,
half.
technically the world.
Yeah, not just half.
Right. But in this one, and and somebody said it once really well. It's ironic that Democrats say Republicans don't believe in the Constitution. I know, right?
Exactly.
Well, and see, and the thing is, and Chris, you're absolutely right, because of the fact that we're being gaslit, and they're gaslighting half of the country, especially that 1/3 ish section that is the purple voter, right? The swing voter, the independent, the one that doesn't know one way or the other, that doesn't look at the news, and
Doesn't care. Just goes to
Doesn't
work
care.
every
Yeah,
day.
exactly. Just kind of goes about,
Yep.
and then they pay attention.
I was
to
that.
The,
I'm not gonna lie. I
you know,
was
they
that
sit
for
there
years.
and they pay attention to politics about a week before they have to go
Yep.
vote, and then
whatever
that's about
sounds
it.
the best.
And
goes
whatever
for it. Mm-hmm.
pops up on Facebook, and they're going, "Oh, I can't believe that." Man, these MAGA Republicans must be real
Can't believe that Carrie
assholes."
Lake's a hooker, man.
Yeah, right. So love you, Carrie Lake, and so and the funny thing is, they say that the president has a staff of how many, right?
$1 billion.
And so none of this was done by accident.
No, it was all pre-planned.
It was all pre-planned.
Oh, absolutely.
Flying all the way, not like it was a huge distance to go from Washington to Philadelphia, but going down to Philadelphia and putting the Marine Guards there. And I, saw some things that popped up in news articles and stuff like that about people arguing, well, the Marines were just there. They're stationed there. No, the Marines are not stationed at Independence Hall.
Right.
Not at all.
It's owned by the Park Service. It's not owned by the military. This is not the Army soldiers that walked the Tomb of the Unknowns.
Right.
This is just
Well, not like the soldiers that are standby at the helicopter for the president when he goes by.
Exactly.
That's a duty that they have all the time.
yes.
This was different.
This is different. This is the Park Service. This is no different than, there's no, if you go to the Washington Monument or the Jefferson Memorial, there is no Marines stationed outside.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's insane that people think that this is just, they're just there by accident and they got caught in the camera. No, they
They're
were asked to
planned.
be there. And shame on the Marines because the Marines have an actual,
Post.
no, they have an actual, I don't know if law, but they have an actual rule that says that they are not supposed to be involved in any
That's right.
political things.
whatevers, yeah.
All the military does.
All the military does.
Are we
So-
sure they were military or people posing as military?
Well, that would be
A good question.
borderline. I mean, there's no gain out of it. So the way the current laws sit, you can actually dress up, unlike a cop. So you get caught dressed up as a cop, you're going to jail, right? You get caught dressed up as in the military, you technically are not breaking a law unless you gain from it. So even if you get a free cup of coffee because you are, quote unquote, look like you're dressed up in the Army, then you can go to jail.
Yeah.
But just to wear the outfit and
Just to
do
wear the
your daily
outfit,
whatever.
you can
Well,
play
if you
Army all day long.
Well, if you try to enter a military facility dressed,
Well, yeah. of
Well,
course.
they're definitely going to get you in trouble then.
So, but the fact is, so they had it red and then they had blue on either side and they lit this thing up red, white, red and blue.
Yeah.
But they only put the red right in the middle and they zoomed in on that with the Marines in the background and it looks
Scary.
bad.
It looks satanic.
It does. It,
It
looks
does.
like he's
It
like
looks
calling the
synthetic.
troops.
Well, it almost looks like something you see from the Soviet Union or
Well,
communist
they said
countries,
they
right?
brought
I
up
mean,
they some of the media has brought up that it looked very Chinese like with Mao and stuff like that. It had that.
Oh,
kinda,
that is true. He does look very similar
Maybe
to that.
Hunter Biden did the decorations.
Well, and that's
was making
possible.
Ukraine. He
but,
couldn't have.
They point out that nobody, he obviously doesn't do
Sorry.
anything by himself. He
didn't walk up there by
somebody
himself.
did this.
Oh yeah, they staged the whole thing.
Somebody did this, and somebody thought this would be a good thing.
I made Ukraine. Oh, look, it's red. Maybe it was the same place.
Oh
my
yeah, look at
God.
that. He's got
it's
a red
over
background.
on the side. He's over on the right-hand side.
Oh
You just
my
don't
God.
see him.
So this brings up a good point. This is why we only have 5 or 6 stories.
Right?
Have you seen?
Oh my god.
So I'm shocked. I sent the text out the other day of the new movie, and nobody commented.
What movie? You have like 900 conversations while people are at work.
Oh, my son Hunter.
My Son
Oh,
Hunter.
Yeah.
I did. I commented on it.
No, it was a.
It was a
It was a
text.
text.
And
You probably
again,
texted.
I keep saying that we should include you on
No,
the group text.
No, but somebody sent me that. Somebody sent me about.
Your daughter-in-law says that we would offend you.
No.
Just stare ahead,
Well, why am I here?
because Wendy got sick.
But somebody
better,
said
Wendy.
somebody said to you on Facebook, I think. But yeah, no, I did
Yeah,
see that.
somebody
and-
did send it to me. I
And they
don't
say
know.
the left is going nuts over this thing. Like they're
Who made it?
Well, I know who
So-
directed it.
was it Dinesh?
No, it's not Dinesh.
No.
Wouldn't
So,
that be
Ron-
Rodney
one of-
Davey directed it.
I don't know who that is.
He's an actor that was in many James Bond movies as a villain.
Oh, okay.
He's from Long Island.
Why would he not be?
Yeah, he's a nice guy, very conservative. That's not why I'm saying he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy too. But I'm saying he believes in everything that we believe in, and he wanted to get this movie made.
Yeah.
Why'd you say it like that?
What?
When he said he's from Long Island, you said, why wouldn't he be?
Why would he not be?
Arthur, do me a favor real quick.
Why would he not be?
Because Lindsay does not have her iPad up. Arthur, do me a favor real quick and look up who was the writer for that. Because the writer is some daughter of somebody that had... I saw a quick article, and I meant to go back and research it, but I didn't get a chance. But it had something to do with a writer off of Ellen. Which is
I
really
remember.
weird.
I remember
Really?
some-
That's really weird.
So it's
That's
really weird.
interesting.
So like she had to write it in secret.
But was she from Ellen, like from the beginning, or
I
from
don't
Ellen
know.
From now?
See, Wendy says sorry.
Hurry back.
So
Trust me, she'd rather be here.
but it's
She misses us.
so it's as is typical Hollywood. Anything that's not extreme left has to be done under the cover of darkness,
Right.
Until like the very end.
Until it's So now apparently, and I cannot wait to watch this movie because it looks.
We still haven't been able to watch 2,000 Mules or whatever.
Well,
because
we'll
we
have to
can't
have
find
you. We'll
it.
have to have you come over to the house.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either.
We can't find it anywhere.
It's on there.
What that movie night?
We
All right.
can't
If I
find it.
didn't
Me
have
and
to,
Keith
if
have
I didn't
looked.
have a flight in the morning for Atlanta, I would just stay here and we would show the movie right here on the screen. Maybe we'll do that next week.
There you go.
So
So why are you leaving for Atlanta in the morning?
it's a whole nother story. I got to go to work.
On a Saturday?
Yeah.
It's because you don't work all week.
The Hatch Act prohibits feds and military from endorsing a political party.
That's right.
So
is
what
very
are
true.
they
Heavy
doing?
metal's right. He hit it right on the
Well,
head.
that's what I'm saying. Do we know those guys in the back are real? I mean, look what they did with the doctors. They faked doctors.
That's
during
true.
the-
Well, they
during the
faked
pandemic
hospital
and
rooms
everything.
and
That would
emergency
be-
rooms
that-
and everything
if
else.
it comes
Why
out
would they not?
that those are not true Marines, granted,
That'd be awesome.
Would we put
no,
that?
what is it?
no, because
But
that would be very poor taste on the
But
president's
again,
administration.
it would be a 2-second blip, and they'd hide it, just
Yeah.
like they hide everything
Yeah,
else.
But
So
again,
what's it gonna matter?
But on the
Bother
other
you.
hand, I mean, these guys, I saw nothing that said, no, I'm not. I was never a Marine.
No,
I'm not a Marine.
they did look like Marines.
but they definitely presented themselves as Marines.
You're absolutely right.
So
Yeah, but that,
Yeah.
again, that
I can
doesn't
pay somebody enough to look like a Marine too.
maybe.
no, it's not just putting on the uniform.
No, it's the way they act. It's
I don't
not
know.
being-
These
They
guys-
stood there.
These guys, they stood at attention.
Yeah, but you didn't see them come in.
I mean, you don't
didn't-
realize
I didn't watch any
these
of it,
guys
so I don't
have,
know.
their hands have to be a certain way, and these guys have their hands folded in a certain way and things like. I mean, these guys knew what they were doing. If they were not Marines, somebody taught
Will's
them.
here.
Who is?
Hi, Will.
Will.
Oh, there's Will.
You know what I don't understand while we're on this particular. We're still on
We're
story
no,
one.
we're in no rush.
Okay.
Erica's on there too.
Well, what I don't understand is why the left is accusing us of being fascists when half of their Congress people and senators promote communism and Marxism and socialism every day.
Yeah, but see, technically, that's not fascism.
I was
I
just
know
going
it,
to
but
say,
I'm saying
but yeah.
it's the opposite of.
I actually heard some.
That's not my point. My point was they're on the other
There,
side.
you're-
They're on the other
Eric
side.
is going to give you crap if you don't talk into the microphone.
They're on the other side. That was my point.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I actually saw a CNN or MSNBC commentator make a comment about, how the right are fascists and how they always constantly are talking about how the left is socialist and communist.
Right.
And it's like, everybody's just
So I
kinda
have a
splitting
question.
hairs. Yes.
What is the definition of fascist?
I was afraid you were going to ask that.
You knew I was going to.
Only because I don't want to have to try and look it up. So
Do you want me to look it up?
the general gist of it is fascism is where
Think of
somebody's
Adolf
gonna
Hitler.
have to help me out this.
Do the-
So the federal government controls everything but doesn't run everything. So they have regulations on everything, but it's still
Erica says, "Put your face in the mic," or so she's been told.
You got it, Erica. You're right.
So
So-
they control everything, but they don't run it.
yeah. So there's strict guidelines on how they have to run their business, but they don't own the business. Versus socialism, they own the business.
They own everything.
They own everything.
So
And communism, there's no
business.
yeah,
So okay, so fascism is I own it,
correct.
But they tell you how
but
to
I
run it.
don't run it.
Right.
You run it, but you run it according to the way the government
To the way
tells
they
you.
say.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can only do 10 sales a day or 15
Or
sales a day.
you can only
or
you're only allowed to be able to
charge so
mark it up
much.
so much. and,
Okay.
There's
So-
price controls. So when you
so-
talk about so when the left talks about price controls
and
like
price
that-
gouging and all that
well,
stuff.
not even the price gouging, but when they talk about price controls and they tout it and everybody thinks it's a great idea that we're going to do all this. Okay, so Chris says here, fascism is a far right authoritarian.
None of that
ultranational
helps me
political
understand anything.
Hold on, let me-
So centralized, autocratic, militarism,
Militarism.
forcible suppression of oppression,
Opposition.
opposition.
Still doesn't help me any.
All right, so Chris, you're gonna have to break it down into the way
Lindsay
Lindsay
terms.
wants.
Do the Hunter
Lindsay
Biden
terms.
version.
Well, the whole point is it's blamed for
No,
people
so-
on the right, and that's why they use it.
So at least I still get to own my business.
Yes,
You're putting rules on it.
yes. So
Is
when
that
they-
any different than it is now?
Yeah, because right now you could literally. I mean, the big thing is capitalism allows you to be able to charge as much as you want. If you
So
want
it's a money on what I can charge thing. Not
I mean,
on
so some will say that like socialism versus capitalism. One is
well, socialism is I don't own anything. I get nothing.
socialism is not a political
It's an idea.
idea or a political what am I searching for? It's not political in nature. It is economic in nature. Versus communism is political in nature, not economic in nature. So you can have a communist
But it's still
government.
the same.
You can have a communist government, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily they go hand in hand.
But it doesn't
they
mean they're
doesn't-
necessarily taking over your businesses.
Right.
Okay. Socialism, it doesn't matter who's in office, you don't own anything.
Correct.
Both are bad. Okay. Fascism,
Means that
I
you can
own it, but the government's telling me what I can do with it.
they give you all strict rules on how
Yeah, I
you
don't
will
like any
run
of
your-
those.
Right?
It's all,
And there's a
those-
reason why
Those all sound bad.
there's a reason why capitalism has made this country, as an example, the richest country in the world. Not the richest per capita, but it is the richest country in the world. So, there's faults in capitalism. There's no denying that. But it has less fleas than all the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. I agree
So,
with that.
I mean, there is no perfect way.
The lesser of
Because
all the
guess-
evils.
Well, it is. And it because the fact is that, unfortunately, we're humans and we screw things
Yep,
up.
exactly.
All the time.
There's agendas, things like that,
I think capitalism does tend to favor certain people over other people because of the economics of it. Because the more you're able to put into it, the more you get out of it. So people who are
Go-getters.
getting the opportunity to do better will do better with capitalism as to the people who aren't as motivated to get to that
But
point.
isn't that a personal choice?
Yes,
though?
Yeah.
absolutely.
But see,
I mean,
but-
so that has nothing to do with capitalism, though.
No, but that's why capitalism works.
But
And
the
I'm
thing
saying-
the thing about capitalism, the fact is that if somebody gets ahead, and this is where the detractors will comment and say, but that person's getting ahead and I don't get ahead. But on the other hand,
You're also
you're
not the
looking-
one doing the work, so
well,
that's
and
why
you're
you
not
ain't
doing the
getting
work
ahead.
because they want the socialistic of, it's
Whatever's yours is
everybody,
mine and
everybody
mine
gets
is
the same,
yours.
and they don't realize that. So the problem with socialism is they fail to realize that everybody sucks. Everybody
Sucks.
everybody
no matter
suffers.
what you do,
Everybody suffers at the same
we're
low
not
level.
living
They think
their
that it's-
high life.
Yeah, they think that everybody lives a nice
No.
mid-level
Cushiony.
existence, and that's
No.
not the head.
No, but in the
that's not-
socialism, the government's living that high life.
Yeah, by
right.
taking all your
Well,
stuff.
in most
Right.
socialistic countries, there are 3 levels of people. There are the workers, and ironically, this is the exact same way it is in 1984. In the book,
Yep.
there are the workers, there are the political elite, and then there are the
Financial
actual
elite.
elite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the elite.
So and that's the way it works is you have the workers, which is the vast majority, and they live
Is
poorly.
90% of people.
And then you have the people that work for the government, and they live a nice, cushy
Decent
middle,
life.
middle lifestyle, and then you have the elite that have everything. And so the problem is that, people fail to realize because they're so narrow-minded. They're like, and how many times have you seen stupid things that float around Facebook that say Bezos, instead of sending the rocket into space, he should have spent all that money and cured
It's
poverty
his
in
money.
the United
It's
States.
not your problem.
Well, they don't have a real, they have a hard time understanding the mathematics of it because, if he had taken that money, everybody would have gotten about 30 cents. So again, math is a hard thing. But on the other hand, Bezos got rich. Okay, so Bezos got rich. Does that affect you one way or the other? Not really. Does Amazon affect you, though?
Oh, I love Erica. Okay.
What's that?
Hold on. Is she telling me that those are wrong? 4 seconds. Avert back to your conversation.
But, if you didn't have Amazon and you didn't have online, because Amazon, not only did they get to where they are as far as the leading retailer in the country, I think it might be the world, but on the other hand,
We were talking about that.
they also forced everybody else to become an online retailer.
Yes, that's true.
It pushed everybody else
And
ahead
so
of the times.
and don't tell me that doesn't make our lives better.
But this is
As
look
a
at
society.
Of course it does.
Take out the whole, everybody's tracking everybody and all that kind of stuff. But on the other hand,
did that to
overall,
ourselves, though, before
it makes
that.
it's a guy's paradise where we can just shop from our phone sitting on
Yeah,
the
but
couch, right?
it also has a negative effect too.
What's that?
And that's the fact that it puts a lot of these brick and mortar stores out of business, mom and pop stores out of business, because the more people shop on Amazon, the less people visit these stores until they go out of business.
it doesn't though,
Yes and
because
no.
we still have, like, when we were in New York in Ellensville at the Shanley, there was a ton of little mom and pop stores, and they were thriving.
Yeah, there's a ton of them that closed down too. Though.
I'm sure
Yeah.
there
Oh,
was,
yeah.
but
But
again,
that's-
that has to do with the store and the person and what they want to put into it and everything else. So
It has to do with the competition too.
So Amazon is an example, though. Did you know that Amazon actually supplies a storefront for small mom and pop stores?
No, I didn't.
So about 40% of Amazon's business is actually dedicated to small
Well, that's good.
that's
small
awesome.
stores, small family stores that sit there and do it. Now there are those that do silly things on Amazon too, that somebody goes and buys a widget, and then LeBron James.
What is
So-
a widget?
So a thing, whatever
A thingy, okay.
call it a thing.
A widget.
A
I'm
thingy.
with you now. I'm with you now. I thought it was a real
They
thing.
they buy widget 1A, and they turn around and they bought a whole
I got a whole box of
a
them.
whole box of them, and they turn around and they open up a storefront on Amazon to be able to sell it. And they sell it for 30% more.
Go for it, boo boo.
But people buy it.
Yeah.
And so if you're not, and I mean, again,
Somebody's
it
gonna
makes
buy
no
it. I'm
difference
not
as to
against
what
it.
you could do the exact same thing at a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
But people, instead of shopping around, they find the one thing that goes, and then you
Quick,
get enough.
done.
No, I think you hit it on the head when you said people could just sit at home and shop. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't want to have to go out anymore and do anything.
Right.
That's the
I
whole
know
thing.
you, and I'll tell Kath this till the day I die, that you like going to the stores with her,
What are you drinking?
especially for
What the hell are you drinking?
for shoes, right? You love it when
But
she
the,
goes
you know that
shoe
his
shopping.
point though plays true to just about everything though, because if you go back to capitalism, we talk about why people hate capitalism so much. It's because you actually have to work. You have to,
You have to put the
do
sweat
something.
and
You have
tears
to put
into
the
it.
effort in, and we become such a lazy society.
Exactly.
That's why socialism looks so appealing, because everything's going to be given to you.
Nobody wants to
and
do
you don't have
shit
to do
no more.
anything.
What
and I
name
think
me a
that's-
socialist? So they always talk about socialism always eventually turns into communism, blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff, and everybody sucks at the same low level. Name me a socialist country that has invented anything of any value.
I can't name you a socialist
why is
country
it that
that's
the
doing
United
well.
States?
Well, you could say China has.
What have they invented? They rip us off.
Well,
They steal
that's
everything.
what they invented, ripping off.
Well, that's true. They do have
They
probably.
stole technology from us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, all they have a thing of doing is they just go and they
They have Hillary's emails. We're
they
good.
find somebody. They find somebody. Well, it's the Russians actually. Hillary's emails.
sorry.
But they find somebody that's suffering, who's not somebody who's pissed about the other guy that's making more money than him and not just living his best life. And his only way out is to just say, "Oh yeah, I can just give that to you for, you give me $1 million, I'll give you that secret."
right. Yep. Yep.
That's true.
But that's happened, and
God knows
unfortunately,
how-
but that's happened forever.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary not too long ago about the John Walker
Walker, yeah.
spy conspiracy back in the 80s.
Yep.
And they actually brought up, it wasn't the Walkers, but some other guy.
Johnny Walker, like the whiskey dude?
No.
Oh.
This is a thing that really hurt it was like one of the biggest spy conspiracies, internal spy conspiracies in the military.
Yeah.
And the Navy. And so, but they actually said that there was an Air Force guy once in Germany before that. He literally took an AMRAAM missile, threw it into the back of a van, and drove it
I remember that
over
one
to
too.
over to East Germany.
Yep. Oh, it's been going on for a while.
And it's like, and then we wonder now with the even less enthusiastic people that are out there coming out of high school and grade school and
College.
those that are going into the military, because right now the ones that are joining the military are not the ones that are
Go-getters.
Yeah, well, not the ones that the ones that are not joining the military are the patriots, the ones that are more patriotic because they can't stand what it's become.
What's going on? Yeah. Yeah, you're talking about getting back to the espionage. You were talking about young people. There was that book that was written and a movie that they made called Falcon and Snowman, where the one guy worked for the Defense Department, and him and his partner started gathering up all the classified documents and selling it to Russia. And they both got caught. Eventually went to jail. But that happened back in the 80s too.
Yeah, things were bad back then.
Yep.
So I just got a couple political memes in here, great. Now I'm just a fascist.
Right.
And Biden would get off my lawn to half the population.
Yep.
And then Wendy brought up a good point. So this is something out of Yahoo. And she goes, so you should probably bring up something that's kind of an opposing just to see what the other side. This one kind of spelled it out. I looked at some of the things that talked about the speech and stuff. And obviously the left was playing it down a lot, the mainstream media. But this one I thought was interesting because this guy said here and said, no, it is an opinion piece, so we'll be fair. But this was on Yahoo, and he said, Biden should have, instead of using MAGA, he should have just said Republicans, all Republicans, because he's never seen a Republican who hasn't embraced extreme ideology. And when it comes to policy and governance, there is no difference. So basically, you are an extremist.
Yes, I am.
I've been as
And
terrorists
you,
too.
And you are an extremist, and I'm an extremist, and everybody is an extremist. So
Doesn't he see by writing that he's talking about the left? Doesn't he see that?
No, because he's not the
no,
one
because
writing
don't
it.
you think that they're gaslighting us?
Yes.
That's the whole point, right? The whole point. Now we asked this question.
Well, the whole point is to make Republicans look bad.
Well, the idea
so that they can convince everybody of all the inflation and all the gas prices
but they
rising and all the
use
food prices rising that it's fine because at least we're not extremists.
Yes, but they're using all the negatives that apply to themselves.
And
But
turning
you
it
can
back
flip
on
it into
Republicans.
anything.
Exactly.
You can flip it into anything.
Yeah.
So they're trying to. So the whole point of this news conference or this thing was literally to try and stave off the red wave that's coming in November. Because if they can convince a few of the independents not to vote Republican because they are the horrible MAGA people, then they might be able to save a few key spots.
And it's funny, you watch a speech like that, and how many times have you heard that Trump divided our country? Right? How many times have they said that?
He was the one who divided us
Is there
all.
anything more divisive than what he
No.
went on TV and said?
And so that
is-
brings up a point that I'll bring up later.
Okay.
Is the fact that you can't. The problem we have right now as a society is we think that we can, and good thing you're here because I actually get to pick on you.
Whatever.
Is that while we post it on social media and we prove our point that there's hypocrisy going on, we expect there's going to be a giant referee that says, blows a whistle, throws a flag.
Too
and
much.
says, absolutely right. Penalize the left for this, penalize the right for that. And it'll somehow be taken care of. But it doesn't.
Well, it's taken care of if you're on the left.
But it doesn't even but see, if we point out the hypocrisy, it doesn't do anything. Nothing
All they say
happens.
is, no, that's not true.
There's no
and then that's
penalty
it.
for it. There's no payback.
There's no payback.
Well,
There's nothing
there's
there's nothing that's gonna happen.
But
Nothing,
it is censorship. On
Not
one
even
side.
that. There's no realization.
There's nothing
Because
that's
even
gonna
when you
happen.
have something, so you have that referee that says, oh, no, that was really a strike. You look at it.
And Wendy, you're
I 100%
So,
agree with her.
It
on
all
that.
started with
Absolutely.
Obama.
Yep.
Sure.
So you look at it and you say, oh, no, I guess that was right. Or I guess that was whatever. When you have that referee, there is no referee now. So nobody's taking that moment to reevaluate.
Christine's
We're just
right, too.
running.
There is too much finger pointing. She's
Absolutely.
right.
Well, but see, it goes back to, I think, and we go back and we look at how things progressed. So you go back to Bush 1, he was floundering in a poor economy. So his big concern was not us versus them. His concern was we need to just get through this. So he kind of, in some ways, he made the mistake of falling into the Carter malaise versus Clinton had the .com
Yep.
rush that helped him out of that, and he was riding the wave. And so Clinton was willing to just go, woohoo, we're good, we're going,
just
and
go
everything
with
was
it.
cool. And so he would just, everybody get behind me, we're going to just ride this wave into the shore.
Yep.
Then
And he did.
And he did. Then we got, Bush 2, and so we had 9/11. And so
Yep.
the entire country rallied around Bush 2.
Right.
And so
Well,
everything
the entire country rallied around itself because they were like, oh, crap, we need to stick together.
right, yeah, nobody picks on us but us. So
Yeah.
it kind of went from there. And so we had 9/11, and then we had, weapons of mass destruction, and everybody, doesn't matter what political party, everybody was like, hell yeah,
Yep.
we're going to go and we're going to
do
punish
it.
we're going to punish somebody.
But then everybody turned.
But then it came back
They
to
flipped,
so then
yeah.
in Obama,
Then it was Obama. And
And
everything
then-
crashed and everything.
well, it crashed. I mean, the economy crashed right after 9/11. And so, but nobody noticed it as much because
Yeah.
of the fact that it was everybody assumed it was 9/11 driven.
It was
and
that.
it would bounce back, and that we're going to go to war and we're going to kick some ass and things will get better.
Yeah.
And then it didn't. And then we had the longest,
Pause.
well, yeah, I'm not even sure what the right way you want to put it, but the longest
Recession.
term of slow growth ever in the country's history, where it went, I think, what was it? It was
It was his
years.
entire presidency.
His entire presidency, and it would just barely creep above stagnation.
Yep.
But that wasn't his goal. His goal had nothing to do with the economy. His goal was to divide the American people.
But he spent most of his time dividing people.
Right.
And that's when he started categorizing, and he started picking sides. And so he started, and again, one of the things I go back to, used to love watching the show The West Wing, and Martin Sheen, who was playing the president, made a comment in there once where somebody wanted him to take a stand on something, and they were talking privately. They're not in front of the cameras. And he goes, you don't understand. The moment I take a stand on something, the market makes a correction
Crash.
in one way or the other. He goes, people hang on what the president says. There are times where the president needs to not make a stand. And that's the problem. Too many times now we get the press who makes the comment of,
Yep.
so what do you think about the Oscars and Chris Rock getting slapped?
What does it matter?
And somebody
You're
should
the
be
president.
saying, you know what? I'm not an entertainment reporter.
Right.
Yeah.
Who cares?
You tell me what you think, but I'll read it in the paper tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's the way that
That's the way it
they
should be. I don't care
responding.
what side of the aisle you're on.
I agree with Chris's statement here. The problem is the people have been so brainwashed that even if we left it up to the people at this point, where would we be? Right?
They have
I
no
mean,
idea.
Well, again, we need to come back to there needs to be a certain amount of, what's my middle ground is. I mean, that's what
Yep.
it used to be, and Wendy's 100% right about that. It used to be a compromise, and now it's not a compromise.
Well, and that's how it was when we
on
talked
either
about
side.
things.
On either side. it's
I
not
told-
compromise.
And
mean-
that's 100% true.
Yeah.
I told Keith before, like, I didn't get
I need to know who was
Involved.
on.
in politics. Like, I was that person. I went to work every day. I didn't really care. It didn't affect me. Then it became personal. Then it started being this whole thing. Well, then, like, one of the memes, one of the pictures we showed a long time ago, like, okay, I'm going to stay in the middle. Well, then left moves the middle so far over, and I'm like, okay, well, now I'm not, I guess.
And that's 100%. That's what it is. Because it comes back to what I've said in the past. The problem is the right
Has stayed.
just
We
wants it
stood
to
our
stay.
ground. Yeah,
We just want
and
to stay here. Just stay here. We're willing to just stay right here.
Like, we don't
I'm not
need to
happy. I
just-
want to go back to what it was 20 years ago, but I'll be cool if we can
Just
just
stay.
stay here. And the left is never happy with that.
No, take more, take more,
They
take
keep
more.
moving the goalposts.
Take more.
And so that's where we were running.
And we don't fight back.
But do you think so? Going back to the Bush Obama thing, they turned on Bush before Obama came in office, because I remember specifically once the information started coming out that there were no weapons of mass destruction, people started turning on Bush before, and I think that's why Obama.
And that's
won.
what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what's supposed to happen. The intelligence has come out now that says that they were a problem looking for an issue, or no, an answer looking for a problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were trying.
Isn't that sort of like our
trying
administration
to justify
now?
the war.
Well, they were trying to find anything that would even remotely, if you could make that leap of chance to say that's a weapon of mass destruction, we're going to just run with it.
But 9/11 was enough to go to war with them. Why did they
We
need?
couldn't-
Why did they need to?
'Justify it more.
9/11 was to go to war with the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Right.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with Iran
Yeah.
or Iraq. I'm sorry.
Iraq.
Iraq, yeah.
That had nothing to do with
Now,
Iraq.
the whole thing was with Iraq was that Bush, the first Bush, George H. Bush, didn't do well over there when he was over there, and he never finished up what he should have finished up. And his son tried to do what his father didn't do, and it backfired on him.
No, but why did the troops were halfway to Baghdad when H told him turn around and go back.
Right.
Why did he say that?
I don't know. I don't know.
So everybody forgets. Senior, where was he before he was vice president? Where did he come from in Washington? CIA.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He was in the CIA.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bush was a spy. So he was an analyst. But he turned the troops around. They were halfway, they were on the big road, whatever it was, heading to Baghdad, and he told them stop where they are at, turn them around, head them back.
That's exactly what he did.
Because he said if we go in and we put troops in Baghdad, we will stuck there for years.
For years. Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah. I'm not saying he was wrong. I'm just saying that's what he did, and his son tried to make it better, I guess.
Yeah, he was because W thought that his dad was wrong. W
Well,
thought
he
everybody
also-
keeps saying that he wanted to finish what Daddy couldn't finish.
Right.
Dad didn't want to do that. Bush Jr. was adamant of the fact that the old man made a mistake.
Yep.
And he was going to fix it.
But he also thought that he lost his second term in office because of that.
Well,
he lost to Obama.
right or wrong, I mean,
That's what he thought. That's what
that's
the
what he
kid
got.
thought.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it. Bush didn't lose because of that. Bush lost because of the economy, because he couldn't sit there and focus on the economy. When James Corvell kept saying it's the economy, stupid, that's what it was.
Yeah.
There you go. They led to people
And they
to
did.
believe
Yeah,
that the
they
funding,
they indirectly they did everything they could to point at going, oh look, it's over there, it's
Iraq.
over there. Yeah.
You think anything to do with Bush too, though, had anything to do with the fact that he had stake in the oil companies?
That's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
That's
I mean,
hard
that
to
you
say.
could speculate
I mean-
that, because then doesn't that just do the same thing as saying, we need to find a reason to go to war with
Well,
Iraq?
that was
is,
my point, though.
You know, we'll find something. We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know, and I don't think we could ever be able to speculate with clear justification.
You heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, you did. You could hear that about Biden now.
Yeah,
too.
but you hear
Yeah.
from a lot of
Yeah.
people that said that it was the CIA that ran an airplane into the Pentagon.
Yeah, I know.
So
That pisses me
you
off when
never
people talk about
you
that,
never
too.
sit there and you can't really know.
Yeah,
Speculation is
it's dangerous.
it's always going to be there. Before you jump to story 2, I just want to say one thing.
Story 2.
Yeah, that's
we
what
just
Crap.
did one story.
Holy shit.
It's been an hour.
That's why we only do 5.
we got to move. You mentioned the red wave before. I have to tell you, I have my doubts that there's going to be a red wave.
Oh, don't say that.
I know. I don't want to say it. I'm just telling you how I feel.
Well, I will
have a
have-
doubt.
We're not gonna we're gonna be hacked again like we were the first time.
Well,
We're never gonna get it.
Take that out of the equation. They have sold.
Why do you think they're not gonna do it again?
They have sold 2 things on the other side, and that is abortion and gun control, and they're going to use that till it kills us.
Well, they're gonna use that, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh no, that's how we won." Only they didn't because they
Well,
hacked it all.
That's a different story.
Gun
though.
control is not.
It's-
They think that is the silver bullet.
Not necessarily.
Always going to be.
It's one of
It's
them.
not. It's not. Gun control is not going to ever win anybody in an election.
No.
No.
It could stir enough people to vote that way. So, same thing with abortion.
And
It never has,
abortion,
though.
an
because
abortion,
of the women. Women do
But see,
believe that.
abortion-
and they believe it very strongly.
abortion.
Women are stupid.
Well, see, now abortion is a two-phase thing because one, everybody is forgot. Everybody will, quote unquote, forget about abortion because now they're starting to realize that it's a state issue. Now, South Carolina is a prime example. They tried to all but outlaw all abortions except in the case of
Medical
rape,
necessity.
yeah.
It says rape and
Yeah.
medical emergencies. Yeah.
So, but their state legislature turned it down
Yeah.
and said, no, it ain't going to happen.
Right.
So they still let
But they're still
early
going to
term
play it. Though.
abortions
That's why-
happen, but not late term abortions.
You're right. And they still have control. Each state has control over it, and people should realize
Well,
that.
people are starting to realize that
I hope
because
so.
now all of a sudden it's starting to break into the news because the mainstream media, in an effort to try and drum up, keep this top of mind, at least this is my opinion, now they're finding that they keep reporting on this, and guess what? It's actually pulling back the curtain a little bit and showing a little bit more sunlight of, okay, so my state actually allows abortion up to 15 weeks, or
Oh, okay.
oh my,
Yeah.
a lot up to 12 or 15 or 20
it
weeks.
just might be too late, though, John, because we're
But
only
see,
talking
and
2
again,
months from now.
So going back to what your point is, I don't think that's it. I heard a congressman on the right. He made the best comment today on the news that the right needs to keep their message simple. It's the economy, stupid.
Yep.
Well, that's what Bongino said. If you watched one of his shows recently, he said that the Republicans, what they need to do is they need to tell the people what they want to hear, not all this other bullshit about Ukraine and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. People want to hear about
That's what the
our
left's
country.
really good at.
And that's what the left is doing. And that's why they think the Republicans are taking more of a foothold now because they're bringing it more real to what's happening here in the States.
So McCarthy is supposed to be. So McCarthy is the leader for the House.
Right. Minority leader, right?
Minority leader for the House, so he's the leader of the Republicans, and he is supposed to be coming up with, and I thought it was supposed to come out this week, but I haven't seen anything, but I might have just missed it. It's been a hell of a week. So, but he was going to come up, so back in, help me out here, Newt Gingrich, there was the contract with America
Yeah.
back in the 90s. It wasn't Newt,
No,
was it?
I know who you mean.
But the
I can see-
but
I
the
can see
Republican had come up with something they called it a contract with America. So they basically laid out about 7 or 8 different things and said, "This is what we want to do." Period. And they had a small red wave at that time because the voters said, "Okay, if
That
this is
sounds
what
good.
this
Yeah.
if this is your agenda and everybody agrees to vote on in this way, we want that. That's
Right.
exactly what we want."
Right.
And so McCarthy wants to do the exact same thing. He wants to call it a something. It's not a contract with America, but something similar. And he wants to say, these are the, 7 or 8 or whatever the
Top
number is
10,
that
yeah.
we want, that everybody in our on our side says that they want to vote for.
Yeah.
And this is how we're going to do it. And this is how the plan to get there. If you vote us in, we will do this.
Right.
And
I
so
think
I'm
it
waiting.
I think it was Newt Gingrich.
So we're waiting for that to come back. Somebody will let us know if we're wrong.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things that if that's and I think that's a perfect game plan.
Yeah,
They need
absolutely.
to keep it very simple, keep it very, this is what we're going to do. And so what's Wendy say when the appeal?
Funny how they never mention that it reverts back to the states.
No, absolutely. They glossed over that aspect.
That was my huge biggest thing. I was fighting with people on Facebook. They took away abortion. It'll never happen. I'm like, what's your state law? What? Well, it goes back to the state. What does your
I
state
know.
say?
I mean, Wendy and I know somebody personally who sat there and was, talking about how, it's wrong. And I mean, we were out to dinner with somebody and they were sitting there and I wasn't about to get into a whole "you're wrong" conversation. And Wendy says I should have, and I was like, no, just wasn't in the mood to do it. To sit there and say, no, Arizona's got a 15-week
this and
abortion
this
law.
and this. Yeah.
I mean, it was clear when they made the decision that they were handing it back to the states.
But for the people who never actually listen to that and only listen to they took it away.
Well, and it doesn't help that the left keeps telling him that the Republicans took it away from you.
Exactly.
Right.
And they believe it.
Right.
Because they're not going to actually do any work and look into it, or they'd be a lot smarter than what they are.
Well,
Right.
Like I said, I'm afraid that the women in the country. Not of course, not the conservative.
Oh, here we go.
But
Have you been
no.
talking to AOC?
No, I'm telling you, the women are going to vote against the Republicans because of that.
I don't
I'm
know any
telling you.
woman. I don't know any woman who would.
No, I think the vast majority of women are coming to realize
Because
that,
the women are not upset about that.
yeah, I think
The
that
left
they are,
women are a little more
women are more concerned about. I'm
guessing.
probably guessing a little bit, but I'm going to suspect that the vast majority, because I go with. I mean, it's not like I know what every woman in the country.
Well, none of us do.
But the people I talk to, I mean, it doesn't matter, man or woman. Everybody's concerned about gas prices and food prices.
yeah.
Food prices and living.
and
You know,
education.
and do I have electricity to be able to keep
Yeah,
my
no,
air
you're
conditioning
right. You're
going?
right.
And am I going to have electricity or
Am I
gas?
going to be able to pay my bills?
And am I going to be able to have heat when the winter comes and shit like this? I mean, that's what they're concerned about.
And I was going to say, it still floors me that anybody can look now and say things are better off now than they were with Donald Trump.
Right.
How can anybody say
They can.
that? How, I mean,
they can say it, but it's not true.
I mean, and they're just fooling themselves.
But there's no more mean tweets.
No more meat. You
All
better
right.
get the story. Too.
Yeah, go on, story.
We're never gonna get anything.
Are you in
else.
a hurry?
Not me.
You got to get to bed, no?
No, I got another beer coming.
Okay.
You ready
where is
for it?
Where is it?
It's right here. I didn't know you were ready.
All right. So
Sitting next to
this
John,
is-
I have to be
according,
ready.
according to AccuWeather, so Death Valley could hit 125 degrees. A
Holy
searing heat
moly.
wave roasts the West. So those that have seen this, this is.
But they don't have power, right?
This was this week. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just crazy, right? I mean,
What was the record for Death Valley? Was it like
128,
128, I think.
something? It was
No,
130,
128, I
wasn't it?
think. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's at 130 yet, but yeah, I know that they've hit 128 once.
Yeah, I think it was 128.
So
That's crazy.
that being said, and then we know that there was the rolling blackouts and the
Ugh, that just like
It's hot.
and then it's and then in California they're asking everybody, hey, turn that up to 78. Can you
So did you hear in Colorado what happened?
what happened in Colorado?
So
yes.
the power companies had this deal that if they sign up for
We have it
the
too.
energy
We have it
savings where
too.
you can
I
give it to
heard
your
that,
power
yes.
company. So the power company froze everybody's thermostat
Yep.
at 78. You couldn't lower it, you couldn't raise it, nothing.
So we had that. When we bought the house, Keith was like, oh, I can put the thermostat on my phone, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that seems really cool. Then I come home one day and I can't be hot with my MS. So I turned it down to 74. Wouldn't let me. I called him immediately and I was like, you're going to take this shit off when you get home. I don't even care. Like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Is somebody else going to tell me what I can do in my home?
It actually makes me think.
Isn't there a way of bypassing?
I thought you had to
There
sign.
is. He disconnected
I
it.
thought you had
You-
to sign up for that.
You do.
You
and it
do.
says in very little print in there that they can control your thermostat.
Because see, we don't.
We have it still, but we just don't have
Well,
it
here's
hooked
the
up
funny
with
thing.
the power company.
You don't sign up for SRP doesn't send you a letter and say, hey, you can do this. You sign up for it. It'll ask
They
you the
do
question
it.
on the thermostat. Do you want to do EcoSmart or whatever they
Yeah,
call
it was
it?
something like that.
And I think
Sure,
I was
why
just going
not?
through and
Yeah.
programming it, and I hit yes on it, and it automatically
and it
signed me up
doesn't.
for it.
Yeah,
through SRP.
it doesn't tell you anything
So-
about
All
it.
right, stop, Shiva.
You being licked?
Yes, I'm being. And she's sitting there and she licks me and then she licks Dan and then she licks me and then
I
she
know.
You just gotta
This
stop
is our
petting her.
life. Yeah, just stop touching her. She'll leave.
She'll walk away.
But she's so cute.
I know. Then you're just gonna get licked. I mean, what do you? That's your choice.
All right.
So
Moving on.
So I mean that sucks. That makes me think now because there was a day earlier this week where all of a sudden it just seemed like it was hot, and so
It's a little warm in the house.
and I do have the app on my phone, and I'm sitting there and I'm
Well, he
looking
still
at,
has the app.
and I said, yeah,
but it's that eco if you've
It's
signed up
turned
for that
off?
or not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I don't think we signed up for
I don't.
that.
I don't have that issue.
You probably like Keith never
No,
even thought about it
yeah.
because
Well,
you
it's-
just hit yes and kept doing the setup.
Because it was one of those things. Because then Wendy had every time you open that app, it screws it up, and I was like, no, I don't.
Yeah, you get a rebate. It's not a huge rebate. It's like $100
It's like-
a year or
yeah.
something like that, but it's not, it's just,
And it allows them to control it.
yep.
You set up mine.
So now I'm gonna have to go back and check.
don't
and
have
Yeah,
make
but
sure
you
what
don't have it.
You
on
don't have
yours.
it.
I'm gonna have to go back and check and see if we
Yeah,
have that.
it's terrible. I was so mad. I'm like, take it off, take them all off. Like I was furious that day. It would not let me turn it down until he came and took it off.
So did
It
you
said I
see-
was using too much power.
So with the California thing, and now Colorado and stuff, did you see that more states are now
Every
moving
time
towards-
John opens the app, it jumps to 85.
Yeah,
Don't let him take it off his phone.
So now more states are moving toward banning gas-powered vehicles.
By 2035, right?
Right. So
You do realize that's like
New York,
12 years
Massachusetts,
from now. That's
New York,
nothing.
Vermont, Maine, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Washington, Oregon, New Jersey,
Right. But be
Maryland,
clear on that, John.
Colorado.
It just means there won't be any new vehicles available. They're not saying if you have an older vehicle that's still gas powered, you can't use it.
No,
But
you
then
just
you're
can't.
not-
They're not allowed to
That's
sell.
But then you're not
That's
telling
today.
me that
yeah,
they're
you're
going to
right.
not
Yeah,
stop
that's
fair.
making
They're not gonna
gas.
do
Talking to this
and-
thing.
I'm not
when
saying
you're
they're
yelling
not
at me,
gonna do it.
talking to this thing.
They can hear me if I yell.
There's a cat problem
He's
happening
gonna-
in the
he's gonna
studio. I'm
knock
so
stuff
sorry.
over.
Somebody gets disconnected. It's a cattail that's
Grabbing
flailing through the
wires.
studio. It's
So
fine.
I mean, that's the thing, because it's never. It's again, we're willing to live with it.
you give an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah,
if
they're
it's-
gonna
if
change
it stays,
it.
if it stays right
I'm
here.
just saying
we're-
the way it's written right now.
Yeah.
It's only new.
Yeah, but that's how they get you.
But see, the thing is, because now all of a sudden it turns into, well, we're going to just,
Well, now we're just not going to make as much gas.
well, they don't even have
'Cause
to
you
do
don't
that.
need it. We're
Because
not
they can't-
making
they
gas
can't-
cars anymore.
But see, they can't
So you
control
don't need
that
it.
part. But
Yes,
They
Chris.
can.
What can they control?
Chris, I 100%. You hit it right on the head. 100%.
Read that.
Do you think they are banning the gas vehicles so they can control the electric ones? Transponders are everywhere.
Yep.
So
And
yeah,
they
so
can track you and they can
so
do
if your
everything.
social score isn't up to what they expect,
don't
it to
get
be,
enough power
they
to
can
charge your car
right,
or
they
turn it
shut you off
off
from
or-
charging your car. You can't go to work. They're saying, why
Well,
do you
they're
think
already doing that now.
Why do you think they're trying to go to electronic currency only so they can do the same freaking thing? They can control your money.
Oh, you were
from that
naughty
point.
today. You said too many F-bombs on your show. You don't get to have
Right.
any
You'd
money.
be screwed.
Yeah,
I'll
you're
never
right.
I'm
get
in
out of
big
my
trouble.
house.
No, Chris, I 100% agree with that. 100%. Maybe a conspiracy theory. I don't know. But
I'm going to be
I agree
total
with that
redneck in it
100%.
at that moment. Like,
But
I'm going
see,
to have me some
at this
goats
point,
and cows.
and again, and if you want to call it a conspiracy theory, that's fine. But the thing is, it's like, where does it
stop?
where does it stop? And what stops them from doing it?
Like you said, you give an inch, they take a mile.
So they don't have to outlaw gas vehicles in
But
California.
why? Why does it even have to
Because
come to
all
that?
they have to do
why
is-
don't you just offer them cheaper? If people want an electric vehicle, just like it's been forever. You remember when they first came out with the Toyota
Prius?
Priuses? Everybody wanted to go get those to save the earth. Go for it. If you want one, go get
Hang on,
one.
let me put this comment back up again. That answers your question. Why would they do that if
but
they
they
want to
can do
control
that
you?
in our phones. They can do that in anything else.
They can't control your vehicle though.
You're
wanna
telling me.
control
You're telling
movement.
me.
They want to control
my
it right.
new
Exactly.
Movement.
Toyota doesn't have enough transponders in it,
You're
even though
There was a-
whatever it is.
There was a news article that came out, or not a news article.
that they can't
There
shut
was
off
a-
that ignition.
So I get all these emails. So instead of going on social media and stuff, I get emails now. And so that way I don't have to see
How's your email box look?
I get
I'm sure.
a shit ton of emails all day long. But on the other hand, I don't have to deal with the silliness on social media.
It's true. You just get the story.
So, and Wendy's right. They want to control our movement.
But again, how is that any different than a motorized vehicle? We have how many electrical things in our motorized vehicle?
right.
They can control the fuses, control the gas, control our injectors, control anything so that motor doesn't work.
But see, now they want to be able to just make it by a flip of a switch. They can't necessarily do it today.
Because
yet.
your cars aren't network based.
But they still
they're
can.
working
But they,
on it,
but
though.
they
like
still
you-
can
as
network
an
the
ex-
gas
so
ones.
as an
That's what I'm
example,
saying.
you have a pickup and you have a Honda Accord. And so the Honda is probably smart enough to where you could manipulate it and control it to some extent.
Yeah.
The truck can't. And you would
My truck, definitely not.
and yours definitely not. So, but on the other hand, the whole point is that if they want to be able to control movement,
They
because
can build that into the new ones.
I mean, there was
so
a,
how
there
is
was
that
a,
any different?
There was a thing that I saw, an email that I saw or read a handful of weeks ago, and some Washington Post person or something like that, New York Times, sat there and actually was, some crybaby that never had left the city
Does he need his form?
was sitting there and was saying that why don't we just gather up all the people out in the rural areas of the country and just make them move to a city?
'Cause they're the
Obviously
ones-
doesn't understand how this works.
Right.
Doesn't understand how farms work. Doesn't understand how all the rest of the industries, any industry, pick an industry, how they all work, and just thinks that everybody should be living in a city. And again, these are the people that You know, it just takes a handful of these nuts
To make choices.
to get into political power, and all of a sudden they're the ones that become an AOC. You know, and you get AOC who sat there this week, and of all
Can't even
things,
deal with
in
her.
a GQ Men's Quarterly saying that men hate women, when, you know, have you ever looked at the demographics? There are actually more women in the U.S. than men,
We've outnumbered y'all forever.
right?
And that's why, prime example, when my grandmother passed away, my grandfather had a casserole every single day of the week from a different woman. So don't tell me those women don't outnumber the
Good
men.
man, good man.
Put Will's comment back up there. He hit it right on the head too.
This one?
Will. No, not that one.
Which one?
The other Will?
Go up.
Oh, I already put that one up.
Did you?
That it stops when they have full control of our lives.
Put that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
But that's been forever. And again, we give
No,
them
it
an
hasn't-
inch.
It hasn't been
No,
forever.
this
It's-
is where we're heading. Now.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is where we're heading.
That's what they've always wanted.
So right now,
Exactly.
they're having a problem with people who are not sold on electric cars, but they don't have to outlaw gas.
No.
They can just tax it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Excel.
absolutely.
How is that not a win-win?
right.
We're gonna make all of a sudden where we're gonna put 100% tax on all gas,
Exactly. It's a win-win.
and now all of a sudden it's $20 a gallon,
Right.
or you can go out and buy that $60,000 electric.
But there'll still be people that pay.
I'll
for
buy
gas,
$20 a
$20.
gallon. Thank you.
And I
Just
would,
like cigarettes. It's the same thing with cigarettes.
but see, then the thing is, and it's the only way you're going to be able to control your own life is if you're willing to pay for it.
Yep.
I'm fine with that.
Yep.
So, all right, we actually got to story 3.
Thank God.
Woohoo!
Over the hump. So did you see this?
No.
Former Greenpeace founder, the founder of Greenpeace, says that climate change is based on a false narrative.
Ooh. Wow.
Bum, bum, bum.
Epic Times article that came out this week.
That's interesting.
Greenpeace was hijacked by the political left when they realized there was money and power in the environmental movement. Goes on.
And what year was this?
This is an article from this week.
Well, no, I mean, what year
but
was
yeah,
all this started?
Back in
like,
the 80s.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s. And he said the environmental
Gore.
movement had become more of a political movement than an environmental movement. Said they are primarily focused on creating narrative stories that are designed to instill fear and guilt into the public so they will send them money.
Yep.
Exactly.
And does anything happen with that money? Nope. Goes right in their pockets.
And then the other part of it is climate change means Democrats aren't having
Ammo
to
for
answer
real,
for their
Will. Oh
failures.
my gosh.
Because you can sit there and you can use it to be able to mask everything. It's all climate change.
Yep.
It's all climate change when it doesn't work. And I always thought this was good because guess what? Florida is hotter than California. How come they're not experiencing blackouts right now?
Right. Exactly. Amen. That's a great point. It's a great
Yep.
point.
You know, why?
Arizona's hotter.
Right. But see, parts of Arizona actually,
That's because they're on the California grid.
they are on the
I
California
looked it up
grid.
because they're right on that border.
So, and then this guy is actually a nuclear engineer.
I got a couple of volunteer.
This guy is a nuclear engineer, and he shows up in some of the emails I get. And this is really good because he sat there and he said that basically with all the renewable power that they have spent billions in California for, when it's at peak power, it literally only produces enough power as one nuclear power plant that came online in the 80s.
Yep.
It's like, really? That's the best we can do?
Yeah, we're smart.
Bongino keeps saying it. Bongino keeps saying it. Right now, with all the battery power that exists in the entire world, would only keep the world lit for less than a minute.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Less than a minute.
Well, we don't. That's just like our solar panels. So we have solar panels during the day, helps out tremendously. At night, we have nothing because we don't have batteries.
Right.
Because I
Storage.
haven't found a battery that is convincing enough to me for me to spend my money on.
Oh, okay.
Because, like you said, it doesn't hold anything.
I like your new format, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
why?
why I just want to say that. I like
Why?
it.
Why? Is there any reason
No,
why?
it just looks good.
It's particularly inviting.
It looks very
It
educational.
moves
It looks
along
like-
a little faster.
makes for more conversation.
I meant appearance
It's
wise.
Well,
designed-
maybe
it's
that's because
designed
of
for
our
more
guest.
conversation.
Yes, it is.
And it looks like it's educational. You got it on a chalkboard. It looks
Exactly. 100%.
right.
100%.
Oh,
Why?
you're talking about Wendy's comment.
Not you. Talking about Winnie's comment. Absolutely. When you're a politician and you come in to be a politician and you're making $80,000 a year, but now you're worth $2 million at the end of your 4 years, I have a problem with that.
Right.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. I think it's like, now don't quote me on this number, but up to 70% of the Southmores in Congress are millionaires.
Oh, I'm sure. And you know we're not paying them that much.
No,
Thank you,
they
Chris.
make $160,000 a year.
Thanks, Chris. Keith and I, and actually Lindsay and Wendy have put a lot of thought into
Here goes
this.
their heads, Chris.
No,
He just included you in that conversation.
we put a
by the
lot of
way.
thought into this
I'm
while we
enjoying
were
it.
drinking.
That's when it works.
I did a lot of
It,
drinking.
it always looks good when
If
you're
if you want good quality, senseless entertainment, go on Facebook from what
Oh my
2
God,
months
don't
ago.
watch it.
Yeah.
45 minutes. Now, granted, it
Oh
is.
my
I'll
God.
warn you up front. It is 45 minutes of your life you will never get back.
And it is.
And Christine stuck it out, but
So there was a meme I was going to bring up, but I forgot to put it up. Somebody put it on one of the patriotic platforms the other day, and it said, "Our country started going downhill when we elected poor actors into the White House," and it had a picture of Ronald Reagan, right? But that brings up a point to me: is some of our best presidents have not been politicians,
correct.
Yeah.
right? Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
Yep.
So
He was one of the best.
yeah, I agree. I think he was.
He was one of the best.
So it kind of, and it was a
there's-
conservative platform
and
too, that
some
put
of the
that out.
other best politicians, at least some of the best presidents we've had were not from Washington. They were actually state governors.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's true too.
And so you can pick on Reagan as much as you want. He was a governor of a state,
Yes, he was.
Yep.
and so they already know how to run a microcosm of what the federal government is,
Yep.
and they've done it in a smaller environment to be able to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And so if you want to look for people that should be the type that can run a federal government,
Look at their state.
you should be looking at a state.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you don't think Reagan was a good president, go back and check your history. Go look at everything he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
he's one of the top 5.
For being a bad actor,
Yeah.
he was a pretty damn good president.
Yeah, I think he was one of the top
There's,
5.
I mean, there is no college degree. I mean, you could say political science, but it doesn't teach you how to be a politician. But
We
there
need
is-
people who aren't politicians.
there
We
is
need
no
somebody.
there is no training class to become a politician. So you can come from every walk of life, and technically you're supposed to be able to come from every walk of life. But
right.
the thing is, are you supposed to be, when only 40% of the country has a college education? I think that number is high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is too.
That's pushing it.
Is everybody in Congress supposed to have a college degree?
Harry S. Truman didn't even have any college. He was a high school graduate. He had a military background. He was a captain in the artillery during the First World War, but he didn't have a college education.
Really?
Yep.
That's a good one. I did not know that.
Some of the world's billionaires are
Don't even
uneducated with college. I mean, so to use college as a
As
I know,
any
but
sort of base
I've said this
point.
before. The Wright brothers, if you go and you read up on the Wright brothers,
Nope.
I think one graduated 5th grade and the other one graduated like
6th or 7th.
7th
yeah,
or 8th.
didn't
or
even
something
make it to
like
high
that.
school.
They
yeah.
didn't even graduate high school.
I
Neither
think it
one
was
of them.
8th grade, the second one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't graduate high school, and so
No, because you didn't back then. You had to go
and
to
they
work.
said that the general configuration of the props that they used, even in modern times, they were like 99% there.
Yep.
So say what you want.
You could look at that. May be something you want to do on one of these shows in the future. I think Thomas Edison is another one. There's many people that have contributed a lot to this country that were never college educated. And
that might be a good show.
And some not even completing high school. So, education, not that it's not important, because it is important, but it's not the criteria you should be judging for somebody's ability to lead people and make decisions and do the things that you want done in government.
It's not the end all be all.
No, it's not. Not especially today.
Well, I mean, and
Especially today.
You've seen it in the Air Force. So
Yep.
how many people in the Air Force, because it obviously happens in the Army and the Navy too, that think that if you are an academy grad, you basically walk on water. And some of the best officers I've ever worked with were technically
ROTC
they were Mustangs actually.
yeah.
So they were prior enlisted.
Yeah. Makes the best officers because
the best
they have something to compare it to. They know what it's like. So, you're right. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. Education is important. College is important. But what you see going through college today, and people, we talk about the college loans and all this stuff. These people take these courses in college that does nothing to enhance their career or make them smarter or make them more productive in the society. They just go through the motions. They get their degree, and what do they do with it? Nothing.
Well, exactly, because I think that we've become so pushed to, and I think it started with my generation, especially. Like, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to be something. Well, I don't know what I want to do. Well, you still have to go to college.
Get
so
the
we have
paper
so
anyway.
many,
Right,
exactly.
right, yeah.
We have so many people that are shoving their kids through these
Sure.
4-year colleges for what? They have an associate's degree in arts.
'Cause
Awesome. What are you going to do with it? Oh, I don't know. So they have all this debt, they have all this stuff, they have a degree, but they're not doing their job with it.
Because we have several generations, and we were part of that, where we've said we've learned from our parents and we push it on to our kids that said the only way you're going to get ahead is to have a college education.
Yes,
Well, not only that,
If you know what you're going to do with it.
but
Well,
not only
that's the
that,
other part
look
of
at
it.
your high school. What is everything in high school preparing you for?
College.
It's not preparing you for life. It prepares you for that next step to go to college.
Yeah.
And college doesn't prepare you for life.
And yet you can
But-
only read 6th grade level reading
Right.
or 7th grade
Only
math.
in New York.
No. It's all over. Trust me on that one. It's all over. I mean, it's embarrassing.
I don't know why you need to read. I don't know what you guys
Where
are
do we
talking
fit
about.
into the world?
Reading is overrated.
Where do we fit into the world as far as education goes now?
Oh, we're like
We are
negative 500.
Yeah, we're so far down
Well,
in
you're
the
talking
list.
post-COVID or pre-COVID?
Both.
Well,
Because
Bosco is probably
they
worse.
say things we have regressed. Some of the grade school kids now have regressed.
3
2
years.
grades. Yeah.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that.
All right,
2 to
we're
3
boring
years,
Lindsay.
100%.
All right, let's go.
We're boring Lindsay.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to a couple quick crime articles that popped up. Crime is obviously a big problem now. You see the 4 killed that were in the shooting rampage down in Memphis.
So, no. But
What the hell was that?
speaking of shootings, so my what the hell do we call Maria? Property management lady.
Okay.
Sorry. Wow. Having a mini stroke is totally fine. So my property management lady had to meet with the sheriff to lock out my tenant. Long story. But I guess 2 days before, a sheriff and another property management lady, the tenant shot him.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they didn't want to get kicked out.
And
That's
you-
insane.
And your point is?
That's insane. We're talking about shootings.
Oh, okay.
And crime is ramping
Well,
up. Were
So,
we just
and
talking about
I want to, changing subjects real quick. I want to point out that I love the interaction with the audience. That's one of the things that I think we do that makes our show a little bit different is the fact that we have the interaction with the audience. So keep the comments in, please. By all means, don't feel like you just want to sit there and watch. Feel free to type in your comments and such.
And I'll try to put them up when I see them.
Make Keith actually work.
Don't get upset if I don't put your comment up there.
And we'll try to read them too because
Well, and-
we missed some of them.
for Wendy's
I miss them.
conversation?
I miss all of them. I don't see anything that's on the far side.
Oh, you got that? You can read
Well, because I'm sitting here and I'm
So you're
commenting
cheating.
off of this, and then I'm looking at you guys. Well, Keith is
You're cheating.
But to Wendy's comment as well, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I worked while I
worked your
went
way
through school and paid for it as I went. Never took a student loan out.
Getting back to your Memphis shooting,
Yes.
which we were on,
You didn't hear about this?
Wow,
You didn't
that
hear
was
about
a
this?
little
You
pointed.
didn't hear about this?
they had two
When am I going to hear about it?
suspects that came out after that were threatening to kill more people in Memphis. Did you?
Yeah,
hear
there
about
were
Why are we
actually
banning?
that? Am I right about that?
Not
he was
banning.
there were actually 8 different crime scenes, and killed 4.
8 crime scenes. Oh, he shot 8 people
So the last one.
and only killed 4.
So if you look on,
I can't read
if
it.
you-
The comments up there.
So
It's too big.
So one of the things he did is he hopped out of
shot
his
at
car. He was live streaming on Facebook,
Oh, I did sort of hear about this.
and then he walked into an auto zone, and the first guy he encountered, he shot him.
Okay.
I mean, like literally walked in the door. They showed it. They
Whoever
showed the
showed-
video.
well, yeah, he's got the video.
Showed him walking in the door, turns the corner. There's a guy that's probably about 10, 15 feet away from him.
Whatever.
I guess pulls out the gun. I mean, not even
Yeah.
pulls out the gun. Levels the gun at the guy and shoots.
But he was killed, right? The shooter. I think he was killed, wasn't
No, I think he's actually
he? Arrested.
I think he was arrested.
But there's two more that came out after him that they arrested or they're looking for, I guess, suspected of making more threats to kill people in Memphis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
I'm
they
getting
say
at.
that the crime in Memphis has gone through the roof right now. This guy had he was supposed to be in jail for 3 years, and he ended up only serving 11 months.
Why would he not?
Yep.
And so, again,
Was he released when we released everybody for COVID?
No,
This just happened though, didn't it?
Well, no, when he got released.
No, because he was sentenced in April of 21 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, then maybe because that's when they started letting everybody out.
I don't know. Did you see this? So a county officer, not officer, but a county official ended up stabbing a
Reporter?
reporter and killed him
Really?
What?
because the reporter reported on this guy for he ran some news articles on him and reported on an inappropriate relationship he was having with a subordinate and how he treated workers poorly.
And so he killed the guy.
And the guy ended up losing the election, and so he went and killed the reporter.
Took his
All
revenge
right.
out.
And it's funny, he stabbed the guy. And so I found this. It's an old tweet from 2019 where there was a shooting in El Paso at the time, and this guy was a big gun control supporter.
So he stabbed him.
So he stabbed the guy.
That's good.
So
And
again,
so like
evil,
we say-
evil finds all means.
Exactly. Just because you don't have a gun in your hand doesn't mean you're still not going to kill that person you want
Right.
to.
There's so
then-
many ways to kill somebody.
That gun makes no difference.
Don't pay attention to what I'm doing. I forgot to upload something. I need to
Uh-oh. And then everybody's seen this, the Eliza Fletcher murder that had happened. And so she was out on a jog and she got abducted.
Yeah, it was
upload.
terrible.
Yeah.
And they found her body, I think, like just a mile and a half away from where she had been abducted. Again, this guy, he had been in the system since he was 11.
Why not?
And he had been previously convicted of rape, aggravated assault, and unlawful possession of a weapon, and yet this guy was out on the street.
And didn't she just recently move back to Memphis or something?
That I don't remember seeing. I know Wendy's been reading about this a little bit, so maybe Wendy can say in the comments.
Yeah, I thought I read something somewhere that she had just moved back to Memphis, and then this
Bottom
happened.
left corner.
And then obviously story 5, the Queen, everybody's heard this.
Yeah.
Couple good things.
know.
A couple things though, if you look it up. So there's 2 funny articles out there that I've read, multiple
Okay.
sources. One where back in the war, back during World War II,
Mm-hmm.
she had actually trained to be a courier driver
Okay.
for the British Army, and she had also trained. She had gone to school to become a mechanic.
Really?
Yes. So she was kind
I
of
like her even
She
more.
was kind of badass. So back in the early 2000s, I guess there was a Saudi prince that was visiting the UK, and she's like, do you want to go for a ride and let me show you the grounds?
Yeah.
And so the prince is like, sure.
Yeah,
So-
why not?
So the prince
Be
jumps.
driven around by the queen? Why not?
So he jumps in. Well, he assumed that they were going to have a driver, so he jumps in the passenger side. Elizabeth jumps in the driver's side and takes him for a ride. And, as the story goes, she was driving like she had learned back in the Army.
Oh, that's great. Up over everything.
Yeah,
and-
she was
Oh,
she was
that's
taking him
hilarious.
for a ride. And then if you look it up, so remember there was her Jubilee back in June or July.
Something like that, yeah.
And so they actually, there was an American couple. So look it up on YouTube or whatever. There's it's funny. So this guy is sitting there and talking about this this American couple that didn't realize she was the queen, and they just happened to walk up to her
Yeah.
or asking, and asking her all these questions, and she like, oh, I live here in London, and but I got a little summer place that's just over the hill over there, and well, if you've lived here your whole life, have you ever met the queen?
Right.
I have never met the queen, and she's with like her aide or something like that, and she goes, but he's met the queen
A
lots
bunch
of times.
That's funny.
Oh my God, that's
Look it up.
hilarious.
It is hysterical.
She was quite a lady.
That is
was
so
qui-
funny.
She was quite a lady, and apparently she had a good sense of humor too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so cute.
There's
Oh
so
my
many people
goodness.
on Facebook though. It's what kills me. They're posting that they're devastated that she passed away, and she was 96.
Well, but see, the
lived- she
problem
lived a
is,
great
at least
life.
from what I'm some of the things that I had seen on Wednesday when it first happened, and they were interviewing some things on the news, people in Britain and London and such, and so everybody kind of she was such a real person, and they may not have necessarily met her in person, but they felt like she was like a grandparent or something like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So she was kind of like the grandparent to the entire country.
Yeah.
Well, she's the second longest reigning.
No, the longest.
No, in the world. No, she's the
Oh,
second.
in the world, yes.
In the world, the second longest. I forget who was the first king. It wasn't from England. It was another country. I don't remember where. Maybe France. I'm not sure. But she's the second longest reigning one, and the first.
Couldn't be France because they beheaded
don't
all
know.
those.
they take them
don't
all
know
out.
where.
Them
was.
French,
But she's definitely the second, and the first, of course, in England.
That's
she,
awesome.
She
Yeah,
went
so-
over Queen Victoria.
So now who takes over?
Charles,
Charles,
King
because
Charles.
King Charles the third.
Which
So-
is the one that
His
didn't
son.
marry the American or did?
No, those are the grandkids.
No,
Oh, okay, okay.
He
So
married
this is
Princess
the one.
Diane.
Yeah, this is the one that's
Oh,
married Diana,
okay.
and then ended up marrying Camilla.
And had the kids.
Yeah, so Prince.
He's got to be up there in age too.
William
So-
and Harry,
Yeah, William and Harry.
Those are the grandkids.
Those are
Diane's kids.
Diane's kids.
Yes, but those are her grandkids.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Wendy, give us a reminder. We are at the hour and a half mark.
Oh boy.
Just saying.
Just saying.
So real quick, story
hey, we're on
6.
story 6. That's
I
pretty
thought
good.
we only had 5 stories.
Well, I this was supposed to be originally 5, but with
but he had to put in about the queen.
and this is because this is National Prepared Month, though.
Oh, is it?
Oh.
Yeah, September is. So I really couldn't let this sit and just kind of wait for next week. So
I don't have extra money to buy anything. I have a
check
wedding.
and go to ready.gov or FEMA.gov or check your local and state sites.
Right.
So
I'm just going to come over here.
Chris, you're too funny, man.
so
That's
My
hilarious.
quote of the week originally was based on our about with Biden and him doing his thing.
What a schmuck.
My originally was going to be that there's not a liberal America, there's not a conservative America, there's the United States of America, and this was from Obama. But then, in light of certain things, I thought this was actually a better quote of the week. When life seems hard, the courageous do not lie down and accept defeat. Instead, they are all the more determined to struggle for a better future. Elizabeth II.
Can we go back to the first quote? So does that only count when you're not having your 60th birthday party during COVID without masks on?
Yes.
Just wanted to
It's in
clarify.
small print under there.
Thank you. I couldn't see it.
That's why I can't read it.
And I just wanted to point out, this kind of goes back to something you were saying earlier. We need to stop pointing out hypocrisy. That's not enough.
Agreed.
Agreed.
It is time for us to be courageous. We must stand up. This kind of goes back to the Queen Elizabeth thing. It's time for us to be courageous. We must stand up. We need to speak out. We need to vote.
But voting doesn't matter when they
Otherwise,
hack
we
it.
get the government and the country we deserve.
Right.
So,
So what happens when we vote and they hack it?
You have no control.
but see,
over
you
that.
can't
You can't
control
go by
that.
that.
You still need to vote. You need to
Gotta
do what you can.
Absolutely.
Do the research and do the most secure way that you can think of to vote. If they're saying in your state, based on the laws, the most secure way is to go in person, then go in person.
We did go in person, but then we had the permanent markers.
If it
And
happens,
now this time, take your own pen or pencil.
Okay.
yeah. If it happens again, don't you think we're going to reach a breaking point?
No.
Where people are just going to say enough is enough.
Yeah, but
We're
here's
coming close.
Here's what I worry about, and this sounds a little bit odd coming from me, but what I worry about is, let's say the Republican loses in 2024, and they scream fraud, it's fixed, and it really isn't. what? How do we control this?
How is it any different than what they did
What?
this
Hillary-
year? They
Hillary
said, "Oh,
cried-
it wasn't fixed
No, my
this year."
point is, if it happens again and it's not fixed, what do we do? Is this going to go on forever?
Yeah.
But how do we know if it was not
We
fixed or
don't.
not? Because this time we know it was fixed, and they still told us it wasn't, and yet still nothing happened.
Right. I'm just simply saying.
Hillary
it
said
could
that it was
happen
fraud
again.
in 2016.
Yeah, there's been
Gore
fraud
said it
every
was
time.
fraud in 2000.
So they've slowly done it every year,
no
and
way
now
to-
this was just the
Well, what
mass
John Kerry said it was
push.
fraud, right? Didn't he?
yeah,
say
John
it?
Kerry said it was fraud.
There's
So it's
3
gonna be-
hookers of the week, girl, but somebody did not put them on.
Uh-oh.
You didn't have a hooker for a week this week?
I have my vote for hooker of the week.
How many hookers did
3
we
hookers.
Can you name them?
Carrie Lake.
No.
No, it
Really?
wasn't Carrie Lake.
No.
Was it Carrie Lake? It
No,
was
no.
It was Carrie
Mia DeLupa,
Yes.
the singer, because she wants to be fucking royalty somewhere and she thinks she's special. Second one was
F-bomb.
AOC.
That's
AOC.
3.
That's 3 or 4?
Oh, we're way over 3. AOC for, what did she say?
She said that all men hate women.
Oh, yeah,
And
all
she
men
said
hate
that
women.
in Men's Quarterly.
And then the third one was Jennifer Lawrence.
She's having nightmares about Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yes.
You know, she used to be a conservative.
She's an idiot.
Jennifer
Before
Lawrence?
she started licking vagina, I don't understand.
She's married, I think.
That don't mean nothing.
Are we still on?
Yes. Quizzed.
All right, so I was doing
How many
something-
questions?
25.
Holy shit.
25 questions. We never
But there's
did
no
that.
but there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah, but
So
it's
some of
tech-
these are, you know, just here's what the quiz is. So the quiz is different this week.
Somebody's got their volume up. You guys don't hear that in the background?
I'm not controlling
Yes.
anything.
No. It's
So
talking.
the quiz is are you or we extreme?
But
Based off what the president said, that, you know, or what we saw in that opinion piece,
Right.
that every Republican would you just let it go, Keith. Let it go. Let it go.
Okay.
Okay.
Shut up. You're not helping.
go ahead, John.
All right. Everybody grab your whiteboards.
I got it. Mine is really dirty.
Question 1. Who was the best president ever? And you can just say this out loud.
None. Sorry, just kidding. Trump.
Well, that's a tough one for me
Why?
to answer.
Because
Why-
he was a businessman, not a politician. He ran it like a job.
Keith, who do you think was the best president?
I'm going to go with, during my lifetime, I'm going to go with Reagan.
Are we
It
talking
doesn't have
about?
to be in your lifetime.
Period.
I'm going to go with Reagan.
Wow, that's a tough one for me.
I don't know enough in depth about the other presidents to be able to say yay or nay, but for me, I think it was Reagan.
Christine says Reagan.
There's 3 for me:
You only
3?
get one.
All right, we'll take 3.
Reagan,
Yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt,
Okay.
and Abraham Lincoln.
Okay. I'll take those 3. I was going to say Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt would be number 1 on my list. 2 would be Reagan. It wasn't necessarily 3, but you have to talk about, I mean, there was, you know, the things that Lincoln did also that were pretty fantastic. But, I mean, just the fact that
Talk about no college education.
Yeah, true. All right, question number 2. See, these move along pretty good. Are you for or against an open border? See, again, this goes back
Do we have
to...
to write
have
this
to
or
write
just
this
say
down?
No,
it?
you can just say.
So why did you want to?
I'm
Because there
against.
might be some that...
I like writing it. Against.
I'm against.
Against?
Do you like your? Do you leave your front door open?
No.
Okay, then against.
Okay.
That was
So are you for or against universal health care? See, now they get a little harder, don't they? What do you think?
do me last.
What do you think?
I'm against,
Against.
but I think we need.
Does there need to be a basic safety net?
I think we got to figure out a way of taking care of everybody, but not in a socialistic way. I know that sounds.
So how do you
There's
do
no-
that?
I know it's.
That
But
sounds
this
very
is my thing.
contradictory.
Aren't we
it
doing that
is.
already?
I know that. I'm just saying.
Aren't you a MAGA Republican?
Yes, I am.
Aren't you supposed to be against all of that?
Yes, I am.
I'm against it, but I think there needs to be.
I still think that we need to help people that are
Can't
in a
afford
bad
things.
situation.
So
So
what is it
I-
that why is it you're against it?
Because I don't like the government getting involved in this crap because they screw everything up. and anything they offer always sucks.
And
It never works
why
for
do you think that is?
Because they don't know what they're doing, number one. And number two, they're always looking.
For the cheap way out.
Yeah.
They spend. I've been saying that as
Yeah.
of lately. That's been my new
Yeah.
constant thing: is they waste more money trying to save money.
Right.
Exactly. So, and that's where I think it needs to come down to. Essentially, we sort of have universal health care already. We have state funded health care. We have access if you don't have anything.
Medicaid.
Medicaid, Medicare. We pretty much have it now. The issue is once you have health care, like me, so I have health care that's provided through my job. Okay, great. My medication is not covered. My medication is only covered for a very minimal amount. My copay is $2,000 a month. My medication is $43,000 a month. Can anybody afford that?
Right.
So that's where we need to start either putting a cap on these things. So not necessarily a universal healthcare, because we sort of have that now. Just some sort of somebody watching these caps.
We need to reform healthcare insurance.
Yes.
That's where we don't need to reform healthcare. We need to kick the insurance companies in the ass.
And start holding people
So
accountable.
I would suggest that everybody take a look at Google Dinesh D'Souza and his opinion on healthcare.
I've seen it.
So he does a very good thing.
he does.
He says basically if the federal government handed out, say, pick a number, $5,000
Yeah.
for basic healthcare maintenance,
Yeah.
and everybody had that instead of your basic healthcare
Through your insurance. Yeah.
through your insurance, and everybody had to, and if you don't spend the $5,000, you get to keep it.
Yeah. There you go.
But if you spend more than that, then you have to go and you have to give a reason to the federal government as to why you need quote unquote more. So like your medication, that would be a prime example. So that would be covered.
But now,
but then when you talk about major problems,
when you come to that, so this is one of my concerns with that. So my medication isn't considered a proven treatment because there is no treatment for my disease.
but does it help?
Nobody knows.
Does it help you?
Nobody knows.
Okay.
So I can either stay on my medication and not have flares, or I can be off my medication and not have flares. We don't know.
And see, and
that's what's hard. You can't
And there's the problem.
track
We can't,
that.
just for this.
So is the government going to tell me no because we don't know whether or not you really need it?
For this, we could want it forever.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
know.
So I mean, and that's
By the way,
what's terrible.
great comments, guys. I'm reading your comments as we go. Really good comments.
Do you think the Hunter laptop needs to be investigated?
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%.
Or did he snort it?
What you're indifferent on this?
No, I'm not. I'm just laughing that you would even ask that question.
Because it still
Because
hasn't been
the
done.
whole point is that we're being labeled as extremists and a danger to the
Well,
democracy.
guess what? I like to kick his ass. That's what I'd like to do.
I want to
Look,
lace
Dad,
his
I made
shit.
you train.
I know.
So your answer is yes?
Why has no crack whore beaten him up yet?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, because he got all the money.
I mean,
They're a crack whore, though. They don't know the
he
difference.
needs to be prosecuted.
Do you think
not
that the DOJ has
investigated.
been partisan? Just a simple yes is fine.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm making a point. Do you
Yeah.
feel that mainstream media is partisan?
Absolutely.
Feel mainstream media is smoked wood.
What are your thoughts on the U.S. military?
Love the military.
I love the military.
I think it's weak now.
I think it's weak. It scares me.
Oh, yeah.
I think the people that are in there that are fighting and do it for patriotic reasons, all the kudos to you that I could possibly muster. But on the other hand, I think that their leadership, they probably need to take about every 3-star and above and just show them the door.
That's the problem. It's the upper echelon. That's the
Yeah.
problem. It's not the men, the brave men and women.
It's not the ones on the ground.
No, they're doing their job. They're doing what they can. It's the leadership. But what worries me, if they ever have a draft again and with this woke
We have
bullshit.
a draft again, Lord baby Jesus.
But I'm saying, if they have a draft again with all this woke bullshit, we're gonna have guys charging the hills wearing dresses.
Right.
As long as you're shot straight, bro, go for it.
I mean, it's scary what's going on.
What are your thoughts on the Afghanistan pullout?
Wrong, big mistake,
Disgrace.
an embarrassment.
It's
It
a
was a disgrace. It was an embarrassment. And I will admit, yes, it was long overdue. Obama
Should have done it.
should have done it the moment that we killed bin Laden.
Done.
We should have started wrapping things
Yep.
up and gotten out
But
within a
do
year.
it the
Yep.
right way.
Yep.
Yeah,
Soon as-
wrap up
soon
your
as we
stuff,
got-
pack up
Don't
your
leave all the
stuff.
equipment and all the stuff there, and the people that helped us over there, leave them to be the victims of.
Everything.
it's
And then
just
leave
so-
your own people.
Yeah.
How many of our own people did we leave over there?
I think they're
Right.
still there.
Oh, there's still some people there.
There's a ton of people there.
So
Absolutely.
do you back the blue?
100%.
Have you not seen my door?
200%. 200%.
Only 100.
200?
1,000%.
Only 100%.
So what are
Okay.
your thoughts on the rule of law? I like the way you have that, sigh, like there's so many thoughts in your head, Dan. Aren't you glad you're here and not just typing this out on your phone?
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing.
He wouldn't
well
be
right now.
typing it.
I'd be yelling at my wife right now. Thoughts on the rule of law?
What do you mean?
You're welcome, Ken.
Yeah, what
What
do you
do
mean?
What do you mean by
What do you
that?
mean?
Like,
by
do
thoughts
we
on the rule of law?
So-
do we need more of it? Do we need
Several of these questions come up because these were things that were pointed out. Now, obviously not the 100,
Biden
laptops,
laptop?
right.
Yeah.
but a lot of these things were the things that were pointed out by the president in his speech, saying that we do not want to follow the rule of law.
Well, what does he mean by the rule of law? That's
Well,
what I'm
and see,
asking.
but we don't know, and so I will say.
Exactly.
But here's my point. Here's where one of the things that I thought of when I typed this in was, but we're the ones that want to
Enforce the Constitution.
well let's see, even to break it down even more onto the street. We're the ones that want prosecutors to actually prosecute. We want DAs to actually not try and get these people out. If you commit a crime, your ass sits in jail.
Yeah.
Or your ass.
Well,
has-
if you're
whatever,
found
whatever,
guilty of that
whatever,
crime,
yes.
whatever it is that you're guilty of, if there's
You
a
serve the time
there-
for that
you have to serve
crime.
the time. Not get. I mean, Chicago is a prime example. They're sitting around and they're having shootings every weekend, and then they get if they arrest anybody, then these
Well, is
people
there
are-
even
they're
enough
out
cops?
They're out by Tuesday.
Is there even enough cops there to arrest them since they turned them all into social workers?
Mayor Beetlejuice said everything is fine,
She is fine.
and I have to believe her.
Oh, my
'Cause
God.
When
I
I
didn't
look
even-
at her eyes, I know she's.
I
telling
had
the
to.
truth.
I had to. So remember, Chicago's a sanctuary city. Wendy and I were talking about this because I showed her. So she's turned around and she's now taking the buses and sending them to the suburbs.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly what she's.
But what
doing.
about Pelosi? What was it, her husband or her brother or something like that? Who just
Her
the
husband.
The information just came out on his DUI or whatever. he
Yeah.
had.
her husband.
husband.
That he got
Husband.
everything washed away.
But how did they hold that information? I mean, that's the thing.
Who got paid off?
So what do you think about ideologies that should be taught in school, woke or other? Should they teach ideology?
No.
Absolutely not.
No ideology.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's what they should be
Yep.
That's what it
teaching.
should- just the basics, right?
Yep.
STEM, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Science, technology.
Yep.
I forget what the E is.
Environmental.
No.
Environmental.
Somebody help us out. What's STEM mean? I forgot what it is. And then math.
English.
English and
Yeah.
math. Duh.
Yeah,
English
science, yeah, there we go. Yeah,
English and math,
that's- Ironically, that's the one we can't remember, right? So yeah, science, technology, English, and math.
I'm very smart.
Should teachers have primary influence on students?
No.
No.
I mean, they always
Well,
have.
what do
They
you-
always
yeah,
have.
What do you mean by
They
primary?
always have.
But see,
They
Not
need
over the
to-
parents.
But they,
No.
this
No.
is what
They
I
need
now
to
all of a sudden they think
not-
that they have primary over the
No.
and yet they complain. Teachers complain for decades.
We see your
We are,
kids too
we
much.
we are not babysitters. The parents have to be the parents.
Yes.
And
Te-
now all of a sudden teachers have turned around and said,
Oh,
no,
we'll
no,
take
we don't
care of
need to
them."
tell the parents what's
But
going
now
on.
it's I need to push what I think and feel on you and not teach you these things.
Here's the long one. What are your thoughts on climate change?
So
We live in a
It-
cyclical
there's always going to be climate change. It's been happening for thousands
Duh.
of years.
It just
It's gonna
hasn't been
continue to happen.
documented. We live in a
Exactly.
cyclical world. Remember the Ice Age?
Yep.
Remember all this crap that y'all have heard about?
Always
We
gonna
don't know
be
how long it's been.
You are so much more fun when you drink.
I haven't been drinking.
I know. That's my point.
do I?
Are you telling me I'm not fun right
You
now?
are.
You
are,
suck.
You are feisty and with an edge.
I'm
tonight.
not.
Do I
I'm
think?
not
Do I think that
talking
we
anymore.
contribute to the atmosphere? Yes, I do. I think globally we do to some degree. Do I think it's causing all the issues that they're saying it's causing? No, I don't. We've only been monitoring weather for what 100 years, if that.
Right.
How many billions of years old is the planet?
And
we don't know
monitoring
what
the ozone
happened
and everything else.
a million years ago.
Right. I would
So
agree with
it
that.
could all be coming around again.
Plus, we're
We don't
listening
know.
to a 12-year-old.
I wonder what Noah thought of the climate change.
Is this what you put on Twitter?
I'm sure he was pretty for it. He had a boat. He was ready.
He was ready.
Well, you were there? What did he say?
Oh.
You know, and I was going to buy you a drink.
Okay, so John's not
You know,
nice today.
right now,
Wendy.
all I know is I can just in my head. I'm
We
thinking
need you here.
Kathy is laughing.
She's
her
loving
ass
every
off
minute
right
of it.
now.
She hasn't commented once tonight. I'm surprised.
Is she awake?
She's laughing.
Ma's like, no, she's taking a nap without him. The door's going to be locked. She changed the
What are
keys.
your thoughts on the Constitution?
I love it.
It's our Bible.
We need to follow it.
Is it outdated?
No.
It'll never be outdated.
Is the Bible
I mean-
outdated?
I mean, there are things you can do.
Oh.
There are things you can do to make it stronger, but what they're trying to do is make it weaker.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What's this? Shots fired.
Yeah.
So, do you recognize the will of the people? Again, this is a comment made by the president that we do not recognize the will of the people.
Yes.
Well, let me see.
Has he been to the grocery store lately?
I think maybe he's reading that wrong. The will of the people.
That's exactly how he put it. Was that the MAGA Republicans do not recognize the will of the people?
Well, let's assume that the election in 2020 was legit, which I can't, but let's do that anyway. There's still 76 million people that don't agree with him. So how is that the will of the people? What he's talking about? It's
don't
the
know.
will of his people.
Well, and
I was
again,
going to say the will of the brainwashed.
well, it still comes back to, and I mean, you're exactly right. So they're obviously trying to drum up the Jan 6
Right.
thing, blah blah blah.
Exactly.
See, there's Kathy right there.
I did that left-handed, Ma. I scared him.
Boy,
She's laughing too hard. She's crying. She can't see.
I'm going to catch hell when I go home.
So, again, this is all Jan 6 stuff. So, do you accept the results of a free election? Sure.
Absolutely, if there
Sure.
was one.
Yeah, when we find one again, we'll accept it.
So, should elections be regulated with IDs and in-person voting?
Absolutely.
100%.
100%. Why not?
Why can't Granny make it there?
But here's my question. How can nobody today in the world we live in not be able to obtain some sort of ID?
But see, 80% of the people that are polled all say that voter ID is what they want. So there's nothing wrong with what you're saying. You're absolutely right, because you have to have an ID to drive, to get drugs, to get
Anything.
if you
To
got
get a book out of the library.
Yeah.
You need to prove who you
Oh,
are.
yeah, you had a school ID.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
you got to have an ID to be able to drop the other 10 commandments.
Is that why the stone was broken?
All right, moving on. Question
He's
18.
reckless.
Should the federal government dictate who you
This
can
is a
and can't-
shitty question.
No.
Why is this a
That
shitty
is
question?
a great
Shitty
question.
It's
That's a
shitty
great
What?
question.
Hold on.
This was brought up by the president.
The
Said
federal
that-
government should not dictate anything, first of all.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So who-
This is not in the Constitution.
Not at all. That's all state. That's all
so
state.
this
So
is
does
a
the
state
state
thing.
tell you who you can marry? Or is it when we go and get our marriage licenses per the state?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
the state.
Yes, it's
right.
a state regulated thing in the first place. It
Okay, I didn't know
Federal
that. That's why I
government's
was
not
asking.
supposed to have anything to do with that.
has nothing to do with marriage whatsoever.
Nope. Or anything like
So
that.
why did this question come up?
Because this is what the president said in his speach.
That we're
That
against the federal
Republicans
government?
that MAGA Republicans,
Republican?
want to regulate who you can love and who you can marry.
It's
But
unbelievable.
federal government wise or state wise?
Well, technically, I mean, you have the ability. So the closer that the whole design of the government and the structure is that the closer it gets to you, the more you're supposed to be able to control it, because the masses are smaller.
Yeah.
So you get to a city government, then you can control that. You get to a school board, you control that school.
yeah.
So, but the point is that the federal government has no hearsay one way or the other as to what a marriage is or isn't. So that's null and void. The president shouldn't even be talking about it because it's a state issue.
Yeah, federal government shouldn't be involved.
I don't
in
even
this.
think it should be a state issue because
Well, the states have to recognize marriage,
so
but
they
on the
have
other
to.
hand, my opinion, if you wanted to take that out and just say government, should the government dictate who you can or can't marry? I still would say no. It's not a government issue,
right.
But
Yeah, no government at all. Should be the states. Absolutely.
But going back to the whole, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but go back to the whole gay lesbian thing. I don't think they should regulate them getting married. I don't care what you do in your own time.
Do your own thing, yeah.
Just stop
But on the
pushing it on everybody else.
Stop pushing it on 8-year-old kids.
Right. And expecting special treatment because you are a
when
certain
you asked
way.
this question, John, you're saying this came from the speech that Biden made.
Correct.
But so are you saying in the question that you think he's suggesting the federal government should dictate?
No, he's saying that MAGA Republicans want to regulate.
Want the federal government to regulate.
I'm paraphrasing, but basically his comment was that MAGA Republicans want to dictate who you love and who you can marry.
The MAGA Republicans, but not the federal government. That's what I'm saying.
But the whole point is the whole point of this quiz is: are we really that extreme?
Yeah, I really don't care what you do.
Are we really that extreme compared to the way we're being painted by the great unifier?
Yeah, the baboon.
And these bring up good conversations.
But what I'm saying, yeah, you're right. Your point is well taken. But I think in his language, I still think as much as he's saying to us that that's what we want, it's really what they want. That's my point.
No, they're trying to drive division between
Everybody.
the far right and the independents who are tired of high gas prices and want
their stake to go down
No,
want power
we know
bills
it's
to go
division.
down.
We know the whole speech.
And
was
so
about
they're
division.
saying
But
this.
this
And
is
my,
what
No, but
they're
I-
pushing.
my point is that I'm just saying the president's wrong, and I just want to point out that
Oh, yeah,
it's
he's
not. And it's
absolutely
not just.
wrong.
I'm not just going to sit there and say no, you're wrong. I want to actually have
Every single point.
I want to pull out every point and say this is.
Bye, Chris. Have a good night.
Where's Chris going?
It's midnight.
midnight.
Oh.
We're almost done, Chris.
Chris, you can just watch it tomorrow.
Watch it
Watch the
tomorrow.
rest tomorrow.
Share it with all your friends, buddy. Appreciate it.
So, but the point is that you can sit there, and I wanted to point out that the president's wrong,
Yeah.
and those that are trying to drive the
No, but
division
I think
are wrong.
I think what he's saying is, you're saying that the president's saying that they want to control marriages.
This
Is
is
that what
what
you're
they
saying? No,
really
No.
and you know they don't because they want.
He's
they
not
want-
saying the opposite.
Right.
He's just trying to paint us into a corner,
In a
saying
corner,
that we want
right,
to,
yeah, right.
and I'm saying no, that's not true.
Yeah, I really don't care.
Should the federal government dictate contraception?
No,
No.
none of their business.
You want to do
Is
whatever you
Trump
want to do. Do
dividing the
whatever you want to
country?
do.
Is Trump dividing the country? Unintentionally, he is because
He's not even around
No,
anymore.
hear me out. Unintentionally, he is because in his rallies, he rallies the people that believe what we believe in, and the people that don't believe in that are on the opposite end of it. So, of course, there's a division there.
How is that any different than when Biden speaks?
It's not.
So it's not dividing the
So
country.
question 21 is Biden dividing the country?
Yes,
100%.
The same reason.
100%.
same reason Trump.
No,
is.
all right. So the
reason.
question, so the
No.
underlying question is: are they dividing the country the same way or
No.
differently?
differently.
Not even
Differently.
close.
differently.
Differently.
Can we fix this country? This is where I should have had the crickets sound effect ready
Wow.
to go.
We can.
We can't
We're
trust.
only on question 22. We only got 3 more.
We can't trust this country right now because of the government. We can't trust our government. So how you fix it, I don't know.
The people have to fix it.
The government has to go away.
No, the question is, can we?
I think we can.
I think we can.
But it's
Is the country still fixable?
yes.
I think it is. We're getting close to where it's not.
Very, very closely to not being.
Yeah, it's very close. But I think it's still. I think it's still.
We're like 98%
Salvageable.
still okay.
It's salvageable.
It's salvageable.
We got that little baby 2%.
Was
we're holding
America
on to.
great?
Oh, absolutely. It was great.
I read a book by Kurt Schlichter, who is a columnist in Town Hall, and he actually has written several books, and one of it was, he said that America reached its pinnacle in 91 when we beat up Iraq with with H.
Yeah.
And we turned around and we proved to the world that we were the best military in the world and the best country because we turned around and we didn't conquer a country. We just kicked them out of the country they invaded.
Right.
And then we turned around and went home.
Right. Well, that's possible. I mean,
And now we just throw money at it.
Now we just throw money at it.
the interesting thing about that comment, what was America great? I was listening to an immigrant that came from Cuba about a week or so ago on television, and he was saying how the reason why he came here was because America was great. And what he worries about now is that he's come to a country that's going in a completely opposite direction.
Right.
Right.
So that was an interesting comment coming from somebody that came from a communist country to our country.
Yeah.
Wendy, are you still awake? Question 24. Should the federal government continue to spend money?
We don't have any money. There is no money.
You mean make money?
No. Spend money the way that they want to spend it.
No, they shouldn't be spending money at all.
Another couple
Because
billion.
they're not spending their money. They're spending our money.
They don't
Right.
care.
Another couple billion is going to Ukraine again.
No,
Yeah,
that's
of
ridiculous.
course it is.
It's ridiculous.
And we're still spending money off on COVID money.
Yep.
Still spending that
So
COVID money.
basically the consensus at the table is that we should be paying for essential services, but stop the senseless spending.
Especially given it across the oceans to other countries.
Yes.
Definitely not.
Last question. What should be the 2 or 3 major concerns of the federal government right now?
National security,
Inflation.
inflation. I agree with that.
I mean, I was sitting there and I was thinking about,
Jobs.
basically stop spending money and start
Making jobs.
doing what you got to do to fix inflation and then get people to work.
Yep. Done.
Definitely.
Or fix the military. That'd be another
That's what
one.
I mean by
But
national
say,
security,
unfortunately, the problem with national security is the only way you're going to fix that is you're going to have to spend some money.
But
I've been reading about how screwed
but
up
fixing the
Navy
military
is.
because you're giving away all this money. If we stop the frivolous spending, I think that's going to fix itself.
Long range, yes. I mean, unfortunately,
it's not
do
gonna
we
be
have-
immediate. It's
do
not
we
gonna
have
happen.
long range? I mean, if our military stays weak for a
Honey, do we have longer? Look at the fucking.
I know, but if we have
Exactly.
But if we stay, especially our Navy right now, if our Navy stays weak for any significant amount of time, the Chinese are going to feel emboldened. They're going to do something reckless.
Well, then,
But how is
Well,
it?
you don't think Putin will too?
if you look
Well,
at
Putin,
history,
I think
No, we're
Putin
giving
is getting
Putin money. We're
Putin's
fine.
getting his nose bloodied pretty good.
oh yeah, he is. But if you look at history, which nobody does anymore except for us, when you look at history and you realize what's gone on in the past, we're heading down the same path right now.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on in Europe, what's going on in Asia is what happened before the Second World War. We're walking into the same mess again.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to build your military up, what better way to have another war? So
Yeah, but this is the thing: is we don't have those nice, good, hardworking 18 and 19-year-olds like we did back then. We got princesses and dresses, and they ain't gonna do nothing over there.
I don't know what to tell you on that, but I tell you,
I mean, I'm fine with thinning the herd.
if you look at the history right now, we are heading in the same direction again.
Yes,
So
we are.
All right, time to play the outro.
And we went way over, everybody.
Way over. Sorry about
9
that.
o'clock.
Well, welcome
It's
back, season
fine.
2, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us as always. And please, everybody, remember that Sunday is the 21st anniversary, right?
Correct.
Of 9/11. Right. So, want to pay a little tribute here, and then we'll take you out with our outro.
21. Holy wowzers!
Right? Isn't that
I
crazy?
graduated high school 21 years ago.
Yeah, there's a whole couple generations of people that have never seen, don't have no idea what 9/11 is.
That's right.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Well, welcome back, everybody. Please go share with your friends our channel. Go subscribe. Our goal this season is to get subscribers. We need to get more subscribers on our YouTube.
Okay.
So go help us out. Share it with your friends, your family, even those liberals you love.
Especially those liberals you love. Let me say hi to them.
Let them hang out with us on our show. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, for joining us. We'll see you guys next Friday. Have a good one.
Bye.
Let's talk about our country, the red, white, and the blue. Let's stand up for glory, us patriots are true. We love America, the land of the free.
love America, from sea to shining sea. We love America.